Friday. Are we going into a football weekend? No, we're not. we have to wait another week, but we got plenty to talk about today on the Mike Missanelli Show. And there's a lot of people out there that are kind of dissecting whether this Eagles team is the best Eagles team ever. You know, and it may very well be. When you look at the previous teams that have been to the Super Bowl, this Eagles team, I think, is a little more talented than any of those teams, which makes it this. It would be a damn shame if they didn't win with their best Eagles team ever. And so I'm zeroed in on them winning this Super Bowl. I know I've said in the past that if they lost to a better team, it wouldn't be devastating to me. It certainly would be disappointing if they lost the Super Bowl to the Kansas City Chiefs. But I go, all right, Chiefs have a pedigree. But now that I'm really digesting the fact that this is the best Eagles team ever, they've got to win the Super Bowl. Really, well, how many times can you get into a Super Bowl where you say your team is the best team ever in Eagle history and not come away with a Super Bowl win? When you frame it that way, this is a must-win Super Bowl. So I'm kind of backing off my I wouldn't be disappointed. Right, because you make the case, you can really make a serious case that if you go through every position with this Eagles team and compare it to any other Eagles team, this is the most complete team they have ever had. And they have this coach who apparently is one of the best coaches ever because of what he's done. Bill Colarulo has made that case that what Sirianni has done, what Jalen Hurts has done, make them the best ever. And, Torrey Smith yesterday compared it to the 2017 team as a guy that played for a Super Bowl champion. And he said this team is better. So, Bill and Ray, who are here today with me on the Mike Missanelli Show, have you framed it that way at all?
As the best team in franchise history, you're saying, and whether or not they...
Well, first of all, let's answer that. Are they the best team in franchise history?
So I think this year's team is better than the team that went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. I think this year's team is better than the team that won it all in 2017, mainly because that 2017 team was decimated by injuries all season with Jason Peters and Darren Sproles and then obviously Carson Wentz, and the list goes on and on. The only team that I would say would be arguable would have been the team that went in 2004. Because that 2004 team was unbelievable, man. We sometimes forget because we live too much in the moment. That 04 team with McNabb and Westbrook and T.O., and then they had a great offensive line with John Runyon and Trey Thomas as your tackles. And then on defense, you had Lito and Sheldon and B-Doc and Trott, Javon Curse. Like, that was a really good football team. And they wasted that opportunity. So think about this.
See, I challenge that. Because you just brought Trey Thomas and John Runyon into the mix. Very good players. Are they Lane Johnson and Mailata? Let's compare. Can you make the case that Trey Thomas was as good as Mailata? At best, it's a push.
At best, it's a push.
And Lane Johnson, all due respect to John Runyon, who I love, Lane Johnson's better than John Runyon.
Lane Johnson is better than John Runyon. But my point is, it was a good offensive line.
Yeah, but it wasn't as good as this offensive line, which is the essence of a team, right?
You had Artis Hicks and Jermaine Mayberry starting in that Super Bowl.
Yeah, but it's not even close at guard.
No, Dickerson and Mekhi Becton, you got to give a lot of credit to Howie and Jeff Stoutland for converting him to a guard. And then at center, you had Hank Fraley, Cam Jurgens. So this offensive line's better. This receiving core is better. Saquon, as much as I love Brian Westbrook, Saquon's doing things we've never seen before. But that was a good team. I mean, when we talk about complementary football, the 04 team, they finished, if I'm not mistaken, identical in terms of offensive rank and defensive rank. They had the number 8 offense that year. Well, the Eagles this year were number 7. And they had the number 2 defense in terms of points against, and this year, number 2 in terms of points against. So it was a very similar team.
So you don't buy into the fact that this is the best team ever, therefore they shouldn't win the Super Bowl.
Well, no. So here's my point with it.
Uh-huh.
This is why I will be devastated if they don't win. Because if you go back to that 2004 team, as good as they were, they come up short against the Patriots, even though the Patriots were on the ropes in that game. They didn't play great. And you're thinking, all right, well, maybe they'll get back. That team never got back, ever. So as good as it was, it fell apart the next season with Terrell Owens. Things started to fall apart with Donovan McNabb. Eventually, you got to fire Andy Reid. So as good and young as this year's team is, because they're young, there's no guarantee about what happens next year or the year after. So that's why when you have as good of a team as the Eagles have right now, and you have this opportunity in front of you, you have to win it. You have to.
So now I'm going to make the case on why the Eagles should win it by looking at the matchup problems that the Chiefs are going to have that I was reading about last night and this morning. First of all, Spags has to put an extra man in the box. I mean, is there any question that he – and they do stop the run pretty well, okay? So how do they stop it? He's been very creative in creeping guys up. And he also will employ – remember that old wide nine that the Eagles employed? But who is
Washburn.
Jim Washburn was the author of the wide nine. He's going to have to go wide to keep Saquon – from getting to the edge. But now Saquon makes a lot of plays inside. So, in other words, he's got to go wide and yet load a box, which is going to be difficult, right? Because that's going to spread you out a little bit. Now, also, this Chiefs team is not that explosive offensively. We've talked about this before. They're just not – they're not going to be a team that's going to run up the scoreboard. They've got their wide receivers. Somehow they make it work with mediocre wide receivers. They've got Juju Smith-Schuster. They've got Hollywood Brown, and they've got a washed-up Hopkins.
And Xavier Worthy, the rookie.
And Xavier Worthy, who's been actually pretty good for them. But they're not that explosive, right? They're 15th in the NFL in scoring. The Eagles are 7th in the NFL in scoring. So, by rights, with the defense the Eagles have against the 15th ranked offense in scoring, the Eagles being 7, the Eagles have a decided edge there.
You would think so, but you just never know with Mahomes. But you're spot on. Like, the team that beat the Eagles in 2022 was the number one offense. The Kansas City Chiefs were number one in terms of yards, in terms of points. That's not what they are this year. You're spot on with it. They hadn't scored more than 30 points until last week against the Buffalo Bills. So this Eagles defense that has been so good since the bye week, you never know with Mahomes, but I would give the advantage to this Eagles defense.
I don't think there's any question that the Eagles can – look, when you look at it, can the Chiefs score 30 points against the Eagles?
I'd be shocked if that happened.
Exactly. The Eagles will score 27.
You would expect them to. Yeah, you would expect them to because, look, the Chiefs' defense has been good. I mean, they're only giving up 19 points a game on the regular season. That's number 4 in the NFL. But everything you're saying about what Spagnuolo is going to try to do with the wide nine and bringing an extra guy down, 20 other teams, well, not 20 because they play the same team twice a couple times, but like over 15 other teams knew they got to try to stop Saquon, and they couldn't.
But some teams are craftier than others. When you have a crafty defensive coordinator who changes it up and adjusts all the time, it's going to be a little harder. So I'm going to give them credit because they know how to win. Like, they're not going to let a team just win on them. You're going to have to earn it. But, again, we're back to the premise. Like, I can't get rid of this in my head. If this is the best Eagles team ever and they don't win the Super Bowl, I've now changed my mind. It would be devastating. Really, I can't get around it. This is the best Eagles team. If you don't win the Super Bowl with the best team ever, it's got to be devastating, right? Because can you get any better than that? Are you going to be better than this team? Maybe you have a chance to be better than this team. But right now, if you're measuring it in real time, this is the best Eagles team ever. And you're going to tell me they're not going to win the Super Bowl?
Yeah, because your reasoning before today was always, well, if you lose to the Chiefs, you're losing to the Chiefs.
Yeah,
but when you look at it this way, you're right.
I know there's intangibles. I know the Chiefs know how to win. But let's play with that premise a little bit because it's logical. I always go logic. To me, it's illogical to say, well, if this is their best team ever, They don't win with this team. They'll never win. All right, here's how you get in. 610-632-0975. 610-632-0975. It is the Mike Missanelli Show with Bill, with Ray. We're back after this.
Tyrone Johnson.
This team does.
Ten 16, Mike Missanelli Show. 610-632-0975. Now, another contender is thrown in here for comparables. And I did read this story in the Inquirer. The 2022 team. 2022 versus 2024. All right, you've already tried to make the case that the 2004 team was comparable to this team and may have been a little better. I don't think that team was, to be honest with you. I think this team is much better. So let's go to the 2022 Eagles. Because the offensive line is comparable. And the only changes were Isaac Seumalo was in there, and who else was in
Jason
there?
Kelsey.
That's right, Jason Kelsey and Isaac Seumalo. Okay. So who was the right guard?
Sayamalo.
Who was the left guard?
It was still Dickerson.
Okay, Dickerson was the left guard. All right.
Yeah,
so,
and then Kelsey with him retired, obviously.
So what is that? That's got to be that's kind of a wash, isn't it?
It's crazy that we're even saying that with how good Kelsey was,
Yeah,
but
it's a wash with this team.
I would maybe say, and I think it's close to a wash, but if we had to pick one, it'd be hard not to pick that one because Sayamalo was very good at right guard, and Kelsey is a Hall of Famer, and you had everybody else, and Lane Johnson's 2 years younger.
He was younger, but I think Mailata's better now.
That's a good point. That's a good. I mean, really, let's call it a push.
All right, I think that's a wash. All right, let's go now with the receivers. So
you still had AJ.
the same guys, right?
Yeah, except for Quez Watkins was your slot.
Yeah.
Now you have Jahan Dotson.
Quez Watkins was irrelevant.
Well, he wasn't irrelevant because he dropped that pass that if he catches, maybe they win the Super Bowl.
Well, that's what I mean. He added nothing.
No, he did not.
Dotson doesn't have anything either. So maybe that's a wash.
Yeah.
All right. So far we're going. So the tight end was the same. So we got to go to the defense to find out the difference. This is why there's no question in my mind.
Before we move on from the offense, you got to talk about the big.
The running back.
Yeah.
Well, obviously they have an edge there.
Obviously.
Okay. So
Miles Sanders had a good season.
Yeah.
Terrible Super Bowl though.
That gives them if you go and wash out all these other positions, the edge goes to Saquon.
Yeah. Miles Sanders had 7 carries in the Super Bowl for 16 yards.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah,
there's no way Saquon's going 7 for 16.
No, that's why they went. No, we can't. This guy.
So we're giving the nod to this offense over 2022
because Saquon gives you the edge.
Here's what's crazy though. Before we move on from the offense, I agree with you when we look at it personnel based, but when you look at the numbers, the 2022 offense was better. They had more yards per game, more points per game.
Points, yeah. That team scored a
better
lot of
red zone offense.
Yeah, that's an anomaly.
Better third down offense.
I don't know how to quantify that.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
All right, so even if we say what the whole thing washes out, now here's where the edge comes in: the defense, the defensive line. Now you had Hassan Reddick, but he had some flaws in stopping the run. So let's look at this defensive line versus that defensive line. You had Brandon Graham still there. You had was Sweat more effective in 2022? Or maybe not. I don't know.
Probably a little bit. But you got to remember they had 70 sacks that season.
Yeah, I get it. But then Jalen Carter is a monster. Now he's a certified monster who dominates that line.
I agree. But they had Fletcher Cox, right? So Carter steps in for Fletcher Cox. Now Carter's doing things that. And Cox is arguably a Hall of Famer.
Fletcher was a little older, though.
He was. But so let's give the nod to Carter over Cox. And now it would come down to Milton Williams and Jordan Davis over Linval Joseph, Javon Hargrave, Ndamukong Suh. They're older guys.
They are
but
older guys.
Hargrave was a beast that year. That's why he got paid by San Francisco.
Okay, so you call it. Is that a wash?
Oh, man, Carter's playing at such a high level. Nolan Smith is now playing at such a high level. But that defensive line was dominant. I mean, talking 70 sacks in the regular season. See, that defense was built a little bit differently, though. It was all about the defensive line.
2022 was better than 2004 now. Right? When you're ranking all these teams, we haven't even talked about 2017.
Well, I said at the time, because now I'm trying to remember, I said at the time that when they lost that Super Bowl, that they were 30 minutes away from going down as the greatest single season in franchise history because that team dominated all year.
Yes, they did.
And maybe they were better than 2004. Maybe they were.
All right, let's move on. There is no question that they're better now with the linebackers.
Well, I agree. But T.J. Edwards had a great season that year. But if you're going T.J. Edwards and you have to bring in Kazir White, I'm giving the nod to Zach Baun, who's a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year, and Aaron Burks. I would have preferred Nakobe Dean, but Aaron Burks, to his credits, played really well in these playoffs.
Listen, I understand. We lamented the loss of T.J. Edwards for a long time, right? Bonds come in, and we don't even think about T.J. Edwards anymore.
No, but we certainly thought of him last year.
No, and Nakobe Dean was a novice, right? Yeah. And we know what, but he stepped up.
No, you're right.
So
this linebacker core, because T.J. Edwards, as good as he was not a Defensive Player of the Year finalist like Zach Bond.
All right, defensive backs. I mean, come on.
What you say? Look, we can't let what James Bradbury did last season cloud what he did in 2022. He was an All-Pro in 2022.
He was, but dude, come on, man.
Here's where I think the major difference is.
All right, Slay, C.J. Gardner-Johnson were still there.
Marcus Epps was good at safety.
But come on, I don't know. The way Blankenship and DeJean have blended, the way Quinton Mitchell has been a shutdown
I think
guy.
It's the nickel that changes everything. It's you had Avonte Maddox that year. You got Cooper DeJean this year.
So the 2024 is the advantage.
Yeah, and look, Quinton I think is better than James Bradbury was then, but Bradbury had a really good season. We can't let what he did last season be like, oh, well, Bradbury was terrible. No, he had a really good 2022.
So you're hedging. You're hedging here. You're not saying that
I'm giving the nod to this team. I am. But I also
not by much.
It isn't by much. That 2022 team was dominant, man. We forget. They were a dominant football team.
All right. We'll continue to talk about it. We got Torrey Smith comparing it to the 2017 team. We'll get into that. 610-632-0975. So the premise is this the best Eagles team ever? And if so, would it be devastating that the best team ever would not win the Super Bowl? Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The return of Brandon Graham. I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. The Eagles took the practice field Thursday as they began preparations for Super Bowl 59 against the Kansas City Chiefs. The team opened the practice window for Brandon Graham this week, and he was limited participant in practice yesterday, saying afterwards that he felt good.
I don't feel restricted at all. It's a good balance, and man, whatever I got to do to get ready for this one game, I feel like I can do it. If I'm gonna go out there, it's gonna be full go.
Both Graham and Britton Covey were limited at practice, with Landon Dickerson, Kenny Gainwell, Dallas Goedert, Cam Jurgens, and Devontae Smith sitting out with various ailments. 76ers returned to action tonight, putting their 4-game winning streak on the line against the Nuggets at 7:30. You can listen to the game live right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. And the Flyers lost 3-0 to the Islanders last night. They also traded Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee to Calgary for a package of players and picks that's headlined by Andre Kuzmenko. This update's brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. I'm Ray Dunn on the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
7:29, Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic. We got a lot of texts so far on the program, but let's kick into a little Torrey Smith from yesterday when I kind of asked him the same question about this team being the best team of all time, whether he thought it. So let's go to Torrey's opinion. We had him on the show yesterday, and here's what he said.
Ooh, this is a really good team. I think when you look at every area of this roster, I think this roster probably is a little bit better than ours. Especially when you add Saquon in the mix, right? I mean, I think this roster is a little better than the one that we had, and I think they have the talent and the leadership and the ability to get it done. But and I'm not trying to jinx them when I say this, but the reality of it is the best teams don't always win. The hottest team wins. And I think this team has both going for them right now in terms of the way they're playing, the way Jalen Hurts is playing, and the way that defense is firing off the ball. So it's going to be fun to watch them go out there and compete. And I think this is the year they get it done.
All right. So there he added another layer to that. He goes, all right, sometimes the best teams don't even don't win, but it's the hottest team. So not only is this the best team, I think he made the case for, but it's the hottest team. So they shouldn't lose. No, basically, they shouldn't lose.
They shouldn't. And I got the roster from that Super Bowl in 2017 team. I mean, this team is definitely better on paper in terms of when you put position by position, especially with all the injuries that team had. I mean, you got to remember, Jason Peters out for the season. They had Vaitai starting at left tackle. You had, as your running backs, I mean, it was a nice combination, but it was Blunt, Ajayi, Corey Clement. Clement had a huge Super Bowl, but I mean, those guys aren't Saquon.
Yeah.
Literally out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And never duplicated that ever in his life. And then the secondary, your corners were Jalen Mills and Ronald Darby. You had Corey Graham playing reps. I mean, Malcolm Jenkins I loved. I still think he's one of the most underrated Eagles of all time. But, yeah, this team is certainly better.
So 2004, you're kind of hedging. 2017, definitely better than that team. And that team won. 2022, we made the case that maybe there's a lot of wash in there, back and forth. 2024. To me, when you have the best defense and you have the most dynamic offensive player in the game, you're the best team. And the best offensive line. I can't come up with or any reason why you can't name this team the best Eagle team of all time.
You're right, man. And when you look at it that way and you go through, I mean, they do have legitimately Pro Bowl caliber players at every single position on both sides of the football. I mean, they really do. And something else Torrey Smith said in that about how Jalen Hurts is playing. So last night, I'm feeding the baby looking for something to watch, and the Eagles put out a 15-minute video mic'd up from the NFC Championship game, right? And I'm watching it. Mike, and maybe the listeners can correct me. I have never seen Jalen Hurts that emotional and animated during a game. I mean, the way he was jawing after plays, like, that's what I bleeping do. And, like, the way he's talking to the fans, I mean, to his teammates and the high-fiving Nick, like, Jalen has been listening to the outside noise, clearly, with the straitjacket comment, with the that's what y'all wanted to see, huh? I think we may have a very dangerous version of Jalen Hurts. And I mean that in a good way. This guy is motivated right now. And I've never seen him. Ray, if you haven't seen that mic'd up.
I saw the clip.
Dude, Jalen looks like he's playing on a different level right now.
Can we play that clip?
We could go grab it. He was so fired up that he high-fived Nick Sirianni. That's how you know.
I want to hear that. I want to hear it because I haven't heard it yet, and I know a lot of people probably haven't heard it. So we're able to fire that up. All right. So in the meantime, I'm stressing Ray out here, but in the meantime, the texts that are flying in here on our text board about all kinds of stuff that we've talked about in the first 34 minutes of the show. So let's go to the text board, Ray.
We got people standing up for that 2004 team. I don't know, man. That 2004 defense was awesome. Ryan Dawkins, Michael Lewis, Lito Shepard, Sheldon Brown, Jeremiah Trier, Javon Curtis, Corey Simon. They had all pro years.
They were good, man. They were. I mean, you remember, too.
That was an era when defense was different, though.
It was.
Like Jeremiah Trotter, where would Jeremiah Trotter? I guess he was a very good player. but the linebackers have to do so much more today. You know, and he couldn't cover. They exploited him a few times. But for that team, he was solid.
And the only thing I want to correct is I don't believe Corey Simon was on that team. Am I wrong? Oh, yeah, he was. Why did I not remember Corey Simon being on the 04 team?
I don't know.
He had, hold on, only 5.5 sacks that year. I didn't remember Corey Simon on the 04 team. That's a bad memory by me.
That is.
Terrence from Wilmington also agreed with the 2004 team was awesome. Said he was checking out some old games on YouTube. The offense was prolific.
What did that defense rank that year?
In 04?
Yeah.
Tell you right now.
Did they rank as
Number
high?
2.
They were 2.
Number 2 in points against, just like this year's team. Number 10 in yards against, which is not as good as this year's team. They also had a top 10 offense. They were ranked 8th offensively in terms of points. They were a good team. See, you don't remember, too. Like, they started that season, I think, 7-0. Then they lost to the Steelers. I was at that game. And then they just spit off 6 straight. They're 13-1, and they started resting players.
This is a great barroom discussion. Like,
Yeah.
like 2004, because as the years go by, now it's 21 years past that, right? And your memory kind of fades about how good that team was because this team is in your face good, you know? So it's hard to compare, but I still think, like, if you are in the discussion that this team is the best team ever and you're not going to win with this team, it's like in 2004 you didn't win because the other team was better, right? The other team, the team that beat you, you can make the case was just better.
The Patriots?
Yeah.
But that's what's so frustrating.
They were better because of the quarterback. And so when you look at this Chiefs team, you go,
Similar.
all right, the Eagles are better, but the Chiefs have this quarterback.
Quarterback, head coach. You had Belichick. You had Brady.
Oh, now I'm confused. Help me out, people. 610-632-0975. Jalen Hurts in that 15-minute clip that Bill was talking about that the Eagles put out. Animated. I haven't heard it. I know a lot of people have heard it, but a lot of people haven't. So on the other side, we're going to let you hear it. It's the Mike Missanelli Show on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Tyrone Johnson, Ricky Vitalico, and Silvonic.
It's 10:41. Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5. I just had a headphone accident.
Would you hit yourself?
No, I kind of like tried to put them on and I slapped my ears with. All right. Anyway, that's Jalen Hurts on the sideline. Ray's heard this. Bill has heard it. And they said they've never heard him more animated. Jalen Hurts is a pretty stoic guy. I'm not expecting that he would be all kind of, gacked up on the sideline.
The main thing.
Yeah, that's all he does. Keeps the main thing. Calm. But this was last week?
This was on after he threw the touchdown pass to A.J. Brown in the NFC Championship game. That nice pass going to the right corner of the end zone. And A.J. makes a nice catch, gets his feet in. Yeah, this was him walking over to the sidelines, Jalen Hurts.
All right, here it is. Here's the quarterback.
That's what I'm talking about right there.
Oh, he cut it short. He says, that's what the bleep I do. That's what I'm talking about right there. And then he walks over, and he's high-fiving Nick Sirianni. Then he walks over to A.J. Brown like, that's what I'm talking about. That's trust right there. That's trust right there. And then just the whole mic'd up from the pregame to the entire game. I have not seen a Jalen Hurts this emotional. It appears that he has been motivated. I know they say they don't listen to the outside noise. Jalen has been listening to the outside noise. He told us that after the Steelers game. That's what y'all wanted to see, huh? He said it with the straitjacket comment, which I think was a shot at the media, not at Nick Sirianni. And now to just hear him during this game. Watch out, Kansas City. I'm telling you, I think Jalen may have a better game than he had in Super Bowl 57.
I can't imagine him saying the bleep.
Oh, yeah.
Really, I can't imagine he's even a cursor.
Yep, that's what the bleep I do. That's what the bleep I do, he says, when he throws that pass.
All right.
Watch out.
Let's go to the text board because we got a lot of people out there. The brains are going and they're ranking teams like we did, and maybe they're doing it in a little more detail. What do we have, Ray?
This text gets to, I think, the funniest part of this entire conversation for me, and it's from Dawood. This just confirms that 2017 was on a magical carpet ride because I firmly believe that 02, 22, and this current team is better than 2017, but they won. In order, 2024, 2022, 2004, and 2017.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Well, it's really, when we look back, we go, that was like a fluke. 2017. Really.
It definitely was.
The things that happened that year. And then, I always say, I took Peterson, and he wound up winning a Super Bowl. And I go, maybe that was the lightning in the bottle moment for this city.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that 2017 team. I mean, the injuries that just kept piling up and piling up and piling up. But, look at some of the guys who made huge plays.
The running back
on that stretch. Yeah, not only Corey Clement, who had the interception return in the NFC Championship game. Patrick Robinson.
Yeah.
I mean, people thought he was going to get cut before the season started. Chris Long on a one-year deal.
Yeah.
Right? LeGarrette Blount on a one-year deal. It was just so many things that they did.
Blount,
Peters goes down. Vaitai steps in and plays left tackle. It was like one thing after another. And then, of course, Nick Foles. I mean, come on, man.
Let's make some noise. Come on.
Who thought that one was coming? That was really, what did Dawood say, a magical carpet ride?
Yes.
It was a magical carpet ride.
That's the funniest thing. It's the one team that won, and we're going to rank them fourth of the four Super Bowl teams this century.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Well, going into that game.
Think about that. That's what shapes people's fear in this town. That the better teams didn't win. That team won.
And that's what Torrey Smith said it, right? It's not always the best team that wins. But the crazy thing, too, I was listening to, I keep talking about audio that I didn't give Ray, but I was listening to Chris Long and Bo Allen. Yeah. I was listening to them talk about.
Why didn't you get?
I didn't think.
What's your?
We were texting last night. We never do that.
We do a show here.
I didn't think this was going to be that relevant, but it came up. It came up. But
all right.
Chris Long and Bo Allen were talking about how when they were welcomed back at the NFC Championship game and how the Eagles organization does it right. They treat you almost like a college program, how they welcome back their former players. And Chris Long says to Bo Allen, we get treated like heroes, but the reality is if Julio Jones catches that ball in the divisional round, nobody even remembers who we are. Like, that's how close you are to
Yeah.
not
Who is
going
he?
down. Yeah. Like, and Chris Long points that out, and he's spot on. Like, we are never going to forget Foles and Peterson and all Corey Clement and all these guys who showed up big. Julio Jones catches that ball. We're forgetting that 2017 team. It's, man, injuries decimated him. Injuries decimated him.
They should have caught that ball.
So, but before we go
No,
on,
he
too,
didn't.
I got to give a big shout out here, Mike. I got to give a big shout
you
out.
got a
So,
shout out?
a good buddy of mine, John Martino, was just named the head coach of Camden Catholic High School last night. Great guy, great coach. Anyone out there who's thinking about where they're going to go for their football, John Martino's going to lead that high
What's
school.
wrong with you?
I got to give him a shout out. He's my man.
Wait, hold on a second.
He's my man.
Out of the blue, we're
Yes.
in a discussion, and you have this John Martino
Because
thought?
you're talking about Doug Peterson. I
Right.
got to give
Can
my
you
guy a
explain-
shout out.
Ray, Ray and I are looking at each other like, is there a point? Is he going to connect this to the Eagles? What, you just had a random thought that you decided to throw in?
Absolutely.
Your
Mine
brain
works
is
in a very interesting
unbelievable.
way.
Absolutely. We're talking about coaches, man. I got to give my
We
guy.
could have waited until we come back after our break for that.
Got to give my guy a shout out.
That was incredible.
Yes.
That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard you do.
That's
Yes.
the craziest Bill brain we've ever gotten.
John Martino, new head coach, Camden Catholic High School. Congratulations,
You got to
Marty.
donate your brain when it's all said and done for you to Boston University.
Your mind works in a very interesting
Seriously. I'm
Wait,
like,
was
what
that
the
drop-
hell
was-
is that? I'm
was
going-
that drop
wait,
towards me,
I
or
gotta-
is that just
hold
from
a second.
before?
I got to get.
No,
I'm
it was from
thinking,
before.
Like, people, you got to look at your chat board now. What the hell?
Talk about
No. There is no connection.
Talk
You
about-
went from Bo Allen to Camden Catholic.
We're in the middle of a
there's no
discussion
connection.
about comparing teams. All of a sudden, John Martino pops into the conversation.
it's my guy.
What the hell?
It's my guy. I've been thinking about him since last night when they announced
you
it.
couldn't have saved that for a better spot.
We got 4 hours to do this. You went from Chris Long and Bo Allen
We'll
to
give him another shout out later on in the show.
well, audiences are changing. Obviously, you want to let everyone know, but come on.
But back to the
Did John
point.
Martino coach the best Eagles team?
Now he goes back to the point.
Well, because you
We
brought up
can't go back to the point now. Now we got to take a break.
you brought up the Doug Peterson thing, and that 2017 team, you could also argue, had the least accomplished head coach.
Dude, I'm checked out now. I can't.
Right?
I can't go back to this discussion. I can't just.
You're a pro.
This is the weirdest.
You can transition.
What in the world?
This is.
We were talking about Doug Peterson. We compared rosters. Well, let's compare coaches. That's where my transition is. And when you're talking about coaches, you could also say, and I think this is fair, Doug Peterson was the worst coach of all of the coaches. Clearly not as good as Andy Reid, and you'd put Sirianni above him, right? You'd put Sirianni above Dougie P.
Well, where'd you put John Martino in that list?
He'd be up there, man. He'd be up there. My man.
Dude, I got. Well, I can't go back to an immediate discussion. I got to go to a break. All right, we're gonna have the full Jalen Hurts audio after this, and hopefully more on John Martino when like the Missanelli show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
How am I supposed to do an update after that? I'm right done with this Fanatic Sports Update. It's driven by Is Gary Barbera the best? Boy, I guess. Birds head coach Nick picks Barbera Jeeps. And let's pray for a healthy return of our big Ram man, Brandon Graham. Gary Barbera is making the final playoffs pay off. All together now. Is our Super Birds at the Superdome the best? Boy, I guess. Go Birds. The Eagles took the practice field Thursday as they begin preparations for Super Bowl 59 against the Kansas City Chiefs. The team opened the practice window for Brandon Graham, and he was a limited participant in practice, saying afterwards that he felt good.
I don't feel restricted at all. It's a good balance, and man, whatever I got to do to get ready for this one game, I feel like I can do it. If I'm gonna go out there, it's gonna be full go.
Both Graham and Britton Covey were limited at practice, with Landon Dickerson, Kenny Gainwell, Dallas Goedert, Cam Jurgens, and Devontae Smith out with various ailments. 76ers returned to action tonight, putting their 4-game winning streak on the line against the Nuggets at 7:30. You can listen to the game live right here on the Fanatic. Flyers lost 3-0 to the Islanders last night. Also trade Morgan Frost, Joel Farabee to Calgary for a package of players and picks, headlined by Andre Kuzmenko. This update's also brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio. Get an extra 5% off. I'm Ray Donald, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Missanelli Show. Friday, it's a football Friday with no football. So, like, we're analyzing. This is an analytical day today. But, there's other stuff going on, too. Like, I got to get Bill to analyze what the Flyers did yesterday as they traded two guys that were supposed to be part of that youth movement and grow with the team as young stars. And they gave up on Joel Farabee and Morgan Frost in a trade for a Russian guy who played in the KHL with Mishkov. What's your opinion, Mr. Flyer?
Well, what they got is two expiring contracts. That's what they did. They got some draft picks. Again, they're rebuilding. It's the right move. It's hard to accept only because these were two guys that when they were drafted, you thought had potential to be a part of this rebuild. They're still young. I mean, I was excited with Farabee. I was excited with Frost, but their play has severely dipped off in recent years. So it's frustrating. It is frustrating, but it's the right move.
Tortorella, these guys have been in his doghouse for like the last year and a half. Like he has badgered these guys. Now, I know he's got a rough hand, and everybody likes that. If you don't play, you're not going to play. If you don't do this, do that. But you took two talented players, and you kind of didn't have any patience with them, and you didn't handle them the right way, in my opinion. Like sometimes his methodology goes overboard, and that's why he wears out his welcome.
Well, did you see what he did last night? Got into a little bit of a yelling match with Michkov on the bench, and Michkov was benched. Only played 8 minutes last night.
I get what he's trying to do with Michkov. But these two guys, he's always badgered these two. He's always been on these two. And finally, I guess he's got a lot of clout, and it's like he's probably going to Jones and Briere going, I can't deal with these guys. I can't deal with them. So it forces their hand to move guys instead of cultivating young talent. That's and again, I'm not as zeroed in on the Flyer situation.
Yeah.
Flyer fans would have to delve into this whole thing. I get it. They have underachieved, and maybe, I don't know what the reason is underachieved, but it exasperated the coach to the point where he gave up talent for what?
Flexibility, is what they're doing.
Really?
With the contracts.
You rather have flexibility than young talent that you can cultivate? Both those guys can play.
Well, they could, but they haven't been playing very well. I mean, that's the problem. And your question is that on Torts that he wasn't able to get the most out of these guys, or did they just need that change of scenery? Are they not as good as we thought they were when the Flyers drafted them? See, the problem is Danny Briere, Keith Jones, or as hockey guys like to say, Danny and Jonesy, they're only in their second year of trying to rebuild this thing, and these guys were Chuck Fletcher picks. These guys, we thought we were going through a rebuild with Chuck Fletcher, and Fletcher now, in hindsight, had no idea what he was doing. So you got to trust Briere and Jonesy that they're going to make the right decision.
I don't have to. I don't. I really don't have to. My read on this is Torrell goes, nah, can't have these guys. They react, they move. And I don't know if it's the right move. I got to be honest with you. All right, you're listening to the Mike Missanelli Show on WPEN and WPEN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. All right, so the 11 o'clock hour is upon us. And now the Super Bowl is the whole bit, the Super Bowl experience for these players. We talked about that with Torrey Smith yesterday. And A.J. Brown had a really interesting perspective on this. So let's start the 11 o'clock hour with A.J. Brown, Mr. Inner Excellence himself. Number 2, Ray.
Yes, it's about us, but it's not about us in that way. We have so much we have to do for everyone else and for the media, the fans, and there's only so little time that we get to focus on what's important, and that's the game. And we have to do a really good job of staying locked in and staying focused. And even when I said a paid actor, even the game, it's so many commercials and everything, you can't never really get in the rhythm. The whole week is just really different. So you got to just try to stick within your routine as much as you can and, not get carried away with everything.
Oh, that's a very mature perspective from A.J. Brown.
Well, he's been through it before. So, I mean, that's the one negative that you usually have when you're going up against the Chiefs is they've been there before. They understand how the week leading up to the Super Bowl is. Well, now the Eagles have been there. A lot of these guys have been there, and that is invaluable on the guidance that guys like A.J. Brown can provide with Quinyon and Cooper DeJean and Jalix Hunt and all these young players who haven't been through this process before, because it is. I mean, it's a mess what they do to these guys. I mean, you heard Torrey Smith talking about it yesterday and how much Alshon Jeffrey hated it. I mean, we're going to be down there. It's an absolute media craze. You were reading some of the names of some of the media outlets that are going to be down there, and a lot of it isn't even sports related. There's jokes and questions that they're going to get asked at these media days that are like, come on. So I'm glad that they've been through this before. Sirianni's talked about how he has a lot of notes from the last time on things that they would do differently, and hopefully they'll be in a better position for it.
Yeah, I'm going to go over a bunch of those media outlets that are going to be with us on Radio Row. You have to get credentials to get into this Radio Row. Like, it's not everybody who can get in there. And it's really interesting how they choose. But I don't know what the process is. But anyway, if you were listening about 15 minutes ago, we're in a very heavy discussion about what the best teams were. And all of a sudden, Bill Colarulo throws in something about Al Martino, the singer.
John Martino.
The singer who played Johnny Fontaine in The Godfather.
My guy, man.
All right, so we got the text board responding to Bill, the way Bill's brain works. It's a phenomenal thing. There's a switch that clicks off. I don't know how it does it, but in the middle of a discussion on the best Eagles team, here comes Bill talking about his buddy who got a coaching. All right, right.
What do we got, Ray?
What's the text board saying about Bill here?
Bill is Captain Random. Effing love it.
Yeah, see? They love it.
A new Mike Missanelli show wrinkle. Instead of bird brain, it's Bill brain. Jay the Taylor.
I love it.
Well,
Poor Bill. You guys are picking on him for giving a shout.
Yeah, see, I tried to explain the way my brain works, all right? We were talking about how Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl, and I'm in my head, I'm comparing him to, well, Sirianni and Andy Reid, who have also been there, even Dick Vermeil, who was there, and Doug Peterson's probably the weakest coach. And I'm like, oh, well, you know what? My buddy John Martino is now the head coach at Camden Catholic. He is a great head coach. So that's where my mind went when we were talking in that topic.
Rick in Ocean City. Bill, best coach of all time, John Martino or Nick Sirianni? Who you got?
Oh, man. I'll tell you what, at the high school level, look, we always talk about Nick Sirianni would be a great high school coach. It'd be close.
And John Martino with his olive oil voice and guinea charm.
The best part is Marty's probably listening thinking, my God, what's going on?
In any event, a little later we're going to play the highlight of that, which I found really interesting.
What highlight?
The highlight of you doing that, and we're going to compare it to something else that occurred in the broadcasting world as well. That's the way my brain works.
Yeah, your brain works in a more mysterious way than mine. I'll tell you that.
Mine works in a very interesting way.
Oh my God! It's like now normally, like we get texts from everybody, right? So this guy texted you.
Well, I've been going back and forth.
You've been going back and forth.
But him and I used to coach together.
Yeah, all right. So occasionally I'll get a text, but if I mention it, it's like about the subject we're talking about.
Well, like, we're comparing coaches.
Your mind just goes, okay, give him a shout out.
Now, him and I coached together way back when, so he's a good dude.
Okay, all right. I had enough of Al Martino.
Should we get him in? Right. We'll just get him in the studio for a full 4 hours.
Jesus. Let's go to the phones. Let's go Tom in Northeast Philly. Tom, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Tom. Yo, Tommy.
Tommy!
Tom! You've been holding for a long time.
Hello.
All right, we lost him. Let's go to Ish in Levittown. Oh, okay. Yo, what's up, Ish?
Mike, I agree with you today. First, I'm sorry I had to bring this up. Tortorella has to go.
You're like Bill. You're like Bill.
No, I
agree with you today about the Super Bowl team, but I got to tell you, Torch got to go.
I just read the trade, and they got nothing in return. You traded 2 young players for a second-round pick and an unknown player.
It was a salary situation, though, Ish. They brought back expiring contracts. It gives them flexibility. They got draft picks. I know it's frustrating, but look, I wanted to see them make a run and hopefully a playoff run this year, get playoff hockey back in South Philly. But that's us being short-sighted.
You're coming seriously close to being a Flyers Stepford here, Bill. I got news for you.
I know. What other option we got?
Flyers Stepford.
What's the alternative?
You're making that mistake.
I know.
Go ahead, Ish. Go.
Okay, just real quick. I believe Torts has taken over the general manager and the president of operations.
I don't think he has done that, but he has a way of saying, "Hey, guys, I can't play with these kids. I can't do it with these kids." So now, what are they supposed to do? Like Briere and Keith Jones got to go. Well, and Torts doesn't like the guy. We can't keep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like my way or the highway. But anyway, besides that, comparing the Super Bowl teams, I believe this is the best team. Like Bill said, we've been here, we've done it before, and like Nick said, they're going over notes from the last time they were in the Super Bowl, and I just believe this time we'll win. I have the confidence in my team. So,
all right,
Ish.
I like it, Ish.
Give me 3. Yeah, you got.
Give me 3.
That was yesterday.
Oh, my bad. Okay, I'm sorry about that.
What the hell is going on today? What brains am I dealing with today, right? Can you help me out? Can you add a little sanity to this show today?
If I'm the sanity of the show, we're in a lot of trouble.
I feel like I am unnecessarily attacked.
Give me a break.
Unnecessarily
Give
attacked.
me a break.
You know, I'm a primo ball breaker, so I love to break your stones. But I just thought like that was really weird. Now, I've been in this business for a really long time.
You always break
I've worked
stones.
with a lot of people. It's like we're engaged in this conversation, and I'm waiting, and you start talking, and I'm going, oh, he's going to add something to the and all of a sudden this shout out comes out of nowhere.
It's Bill Brain. What do we got? We got Bill Brain now.
Bill Brain.
610-632-0975. That's the Mike Missanelli Show. So, Ray, are we close to doing that comparison?
Yeah, we'll have it ready.
We'll have it ready coming up. The Bill versus another great radio moment. The Mike Missanelli Show is on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The Philadelphia 76ers
Pretty good.
Trying to bounce back here in the 11 o'clock hour.
I got to win Mike back over here.
No, you created a golden moment for content. That's what you did.
That's what I do, Mike.
Because I latch on to stuff and I won't let go.
Well, the thing is
what
like
I do.
the whole shtick about how I'm not intelligent, that's just all for you to get content.
It's nothing to do with intelligence. It has to do with there's a mechanism in your brain that clicks into something. I don't know what it is. Well, we all have it, but yours is
it's the undiagnosed
extremely interesting because I'm sitting
ADD.
here. And Ray, I think you felt the same thing. We're in this now Bill's time to talk, and so I'm expecting that he's going to add something to the conversation, and all of a sudden Al Martino comes in. Right,
John Martino.
What the hell?
There's times, though, where I'm like back here and I think, okay, maybe I was trying to attend to something and I lost track of where the conversation went. So in my head, I'm like, I'm going to give it a second and see if this actually related to the conversation.
The funny thing is, though, I agree. Sometimes I have my ADD moments, but Mike acts like he's the most focused guy on the planet.
No,
that's the best part of it.
No, I will go into other things on the show.
We'll be talking about the Eagles, and then we'll start talking about eggs.
No, but it's better timed.
Your timing is good.
It's like a separate moment of the show when I'll do that. Like not in the same moment in the same conversation. Will I do that?
I'm on the edge of my seat here on how you're going to make a comparison.
All right, well,
like what I'm being compared to.
Let's try to do it. I don't know if I'm successful. I just told Ray, hey, Ray, grab these couple things. First of all, let's get the replay. Can we get the replay of how, in case people are just tuning in, we're in the middle of a discussion. I stop talking. Bill starts talking. My expectations is something about the discussion of the Eagles comparing the worth of these four great teams is going to come out of Bill's mouth, and here's what came out.
We are never going to forget Foles and Peterson and all Corey Clement and all these guys who showed up big. Julio Jones catches that ball. We're forgetting that 2017 team. It's, man, injuries decimated him.
He should have caught that ball.
So, but before we go on,
he didn't.
I got to give a big shout-out here, Mike. I got to give a big shout-out. So,
shout-out?
A good buddy of mine, John Martino, was just named the head coach of Camden Catholic High School last night. Great guy, great coach. Anyone out there who's thinking about where they're going to go for their football, John Martino is going to lead that high school.
What's wrong with you?
I got to give him a shout out. He's my man.
Wait, hold on a second.
He's my man.
Out of the blue, we're talking.
Yes. This is a great transition, I thought.
John Martino,
because you're talking about Doug Peterson.
Right.
I got to give my guy a shout out.
Ray?
That was a great transition.
Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm listening to it.
What the hell is wrong with you?
What? All right. So,
all right. What's the comparison?
Let's hear it to the golden moment here. Another national type of broadcasting situation.
All right, if I have hurt anyone out there, I can't tell you how much I say from the bottom of my heart.
Oh, God.
I'm so very, very sorry. I pride myself and think of myself as a man of faith. As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be a home run, and so that'll make it a 4-0 ball game.
I remember this.
All right, so that's Tom Brenneman trying to apologize for some racist comment or a homophobic comment, whatever.
Yeah, it was one or the other.
Yeah.
Is this
a homophobic comment?
Is that where the Castellanos thing started, though?
Castellanos was playing for the
Reds at that time.
Reds. And he starts talking about it, and all of a sudden he segues into the home run.
Yeah, that's going to be a home run.
So immediately that clicked into my brain.
I'm glad that's what I'm being compared to.
What you did was that compared to that kind of a moment.
Look, I'm getting a lot of support in the YouTube channel. Actually, I'm not sure if I am or not.
Yeah, wait, let's
actually not sure
let's
if I am.
check that.
I like sometimes just saying what the YouTube chat says.
You see one comment and that becomes your reality. I see a people's champion here, which is nice. I don't understand it, but it's a nice sentiment.
It is all good. But hold on, back to the original reason I transitioned. I do have a question for you on this.
Okay, good.
Where would you rank Sirianni in comparison to Dougie P? You'd put him above, because we've talked about.
I was never a Doug Peterson guy. I don't know why. I just thought in a lot of ways he was a dunce.
A little bit. I mean, he did strike gold that year. But
yeah, and so I never really I rode with it, but I don't know how. You know what
always threw me off about Peterson? Like we joke about Sirianni and how weird he is and does he resonate with the players. Do you remember after every meeting, Doug Peterson's thing would be, all right, let's go get some ice cream. They got that Haagen-Dazs.
Yeah.
Like that was his thing. Let's go get ice cream. He would tell his team, like, it's a little league team that's going for ice cream after their final game.
Yeah. Well, they have their various quirks. Now, Sirianni, I don't know. I thought he was a dunce, but I also kept my eyes wide open. He's doing something with this team. Peterson, I couldn't understand what he was doing. I can kind of understand now what Sirianni's done for this team. So I would actually put Sirianni a notch above Doug.
Even though Doug's got the only Super Bowl ring.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you another one. This may get some of the old-timers upset. Nick Sirianni or Dick Vermeil? Not what Vermeil did in Kansas City, because you can't consider that. Or, excuse me, not Kansas City. With the Rams, you can't consider that. What he did here.
Completely different eras, though. He could be, the little general, is what they called him back then, right? I don't know if his thing would resonate today. But I can't put Sirianni ahead of him right now.
One Super Bowl appearance for Vermeil.
I understand.
That's it, man.
I understand. But he also built a team kind of from scratch. And he was involved in building that team.
He did. He came in here, took a losing franchise.
Yeah, he looked for a certain type of player to kickstart that rebuilding situation.
And then had that run in St. Louis.
All right. So this is the Mike Missanelli Show. And Castellano hits a deep drive to left field, and it's a home run. But we'll continue. 610-632-0975. I got to say, I don't know, the chat board, the YouTube chat board has been very observant with me today, nor have you guys. So I'm going to say.
I saw it. Talk about the T-shirt. Right? Am I giving it away?
Possibility.
I will talk about it.
Not many people have noticed this.
Well, you got to stand up because you can only see the top.
All right, hold on.
There it is. Mikey Mess getting his MP shirt last night.
The Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The return of Brandon Graham. I'm right done with this Fanatic Sports Update. The Eagles took the practice field Thursday as they begin preparations for Super Bowl 59 against the Kansas City Chiefs. The team opened the practice window for Brandon Graham, and he was a limited participant in practice yesterday, saying afterwards that he felt good.
I don't feel restricted at all. It's a good balance. And, man, whatever I got to do to get ready for this one game, I feel like I can do it. If I'm going to go out there, it's going to be full go.
Both Graham and Brayton Covey were limited at practice, with Landon Dickerson, Kenny Gainwell, Dallas Goedert, Cam Jurgens, and Devontae Smith all sitting out with various ailments. Tonight, the 76ers returned to action, putting their 4-game winning streak on the line against the Nuggets at 7:30. You can listen to the game live right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Flyers lost 3-0 to the Islanders last night and traded Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee to Calgary for a package of picks and players, headlined by Andre Kuzmenko. This update is brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio. Again, extra 5% off. I'm Ray Dunn on the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
726. Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic. Sixers tonight right here on 97.5 The Fanatic, and they're looking for their 5th win in a row? Oh, they're blowing it, man. Anyway, they're looking for number 5 in a row, and tonight is what I would call another shoebox bet. And I don't, listen, the Nuggets, you never know about that team. They're a 9.5-point favorite tonight against the Sixers at the Wells Fargo Arena. That looks to me like $1 million on the Nuggets money line. But Bill, you're looking at me going, you can never tell anymore with this Sixer team.
Yeah, man, I'm staying away from the Sixers betting for or against them. You just don't know. You just don't know. They're all over the place, man. They lost 7 straight. Now they've won 4 straight.
You didn't tell me this team with Joker's not going to beat the Sixers tonight. Without Embiid against Joker, Joker may go for 35, 20, and 10 tonight.
You are probably right, but I'm not. It's not worth it.
I'm betting $1 million on the money line.
Wait, what's the money line?
The money line is minus 325.
So it's not even a good ROI.
If you bet $1 million, it is.
And if you lose,
think about it. Bet $1 million.
Wait, what do you have it at?
Lose.
Minus what?
Minus 325.
So on FanDuel, I got it at minus 370.
Oh, well.
Yeah, that's. I don't know, man.
You still can't. It's not a bet you can lose.
Not a bet you could lose. Look, you never know. Maxey could be motivated that he got.
He got snubbed for the All-Star.
It's
interesting. I think they haven't paid attention to how he's playing lately. I think the narrative for him was he took a step back. His three-point shooting was terrible. He's taking a lot of bad shots, all that thing. But lately he's been money.
Yeah, he has.
He's led him.
He has, but no All-Stars for the 76ers. Who would have thought that? Going into this season with the big 3. Not a single one would make an All-Star team.
Let me bring this up because I remember when this happened with Deshaun Watson and we destroyed Deshaun Watson. What the hell is that story with Justin Tucker?
Very weird.
6 different massage therapists who didn't know each other lodged complaints about this guy. And it's the same kind of story that Deshaun Watson.
Very weird, man. It's strange. Now, Tucker came out and denied him, obviously, but it's just...
How do you deny... What, 6 people wanted to frame him?
That's what I'm saying.
6 people that didn't know each other?
Very strange. And, Stephen A. made a good point I saw this morning saying if he knew that this was coming down the pike, could have been a lot of the reason why he was so damn bad this year. Because Tucker was terrible this year. It's just a weird story. Him, Deshaun, I don't get it, man. Like, what are you guys doing?
Well, there is obviously a sexual perversion in both of those guys. Because that's just,
It's just weird.
It's like totally abnormal, and it's criminal, frankly. So, this guy, Sean Watson got past that. I don't know even how he did, but because he was a quarterback and a franchise quarterback. At this point, I mean, you got to cut ties with this dude.
You would think.
Really, I mean, you can't have that guy back.
Yeah, look,
he's at the end of his career anyway, so.
You never want to rush to judgment, but you're right. 6 different people who didn't know each other all making the same accusation.
Yeah, seriously, you can't. A PR staff can't get past that. And I don't know. Unless the home fan base. Like, if I'm a home fan base, I go, like what Riley Cooper did what he did, I go, get this guy out of my sight.
So now,
and it's like, Dustin, get him out of my sight. You can get a kicker off the street.
Yeah, and now there's some things surfacing that back in 2021, Eric Bloom of the Daily Mail linked to 3 tweets going back to 2021 where Justin Tucker had been banned from more than one spa in the Baltimore area. So clearly this is something that had been going on. Like, you're getting banned from freaking
This is another married guy with a family. And, of course, they catch the shrapnel.
Very weird, man. Yeah, I think you're right, though. I think Tucker, the Ravens are going to have to move on. Just weird. Very weird.
610-632-0975. Back to the text board we go with more Bill text. What's that text, Ray?
I think I set a dangerous precedent a few months ago when I turned off my Bill's
You
mic.
have been known to turn off Bill's mic every now and then.
Because I got a request immediately to turn off Bill's mic.
Well, after that transition that he just pulled?
I want to see the number because I wouldn't be surprised if Ray sent that text himself.
No, actually, it's a Jersey number.
Maybe it's my wife.
It could be John Martino. Bad press for him, you know?
See, now he's got me thinking of the Godfather. His Martino name. I can't get Al Martino and Johnny Fontaine. And you can act like a man. I can't. Now all these lines are coming into my head.
Now everybody's lost.
All right,
Now everybody's lost. Yeah, look, but I'm the one that's not focused. Look at Mike. He's going off now.
Al Martino's a Philadelphia singer who played Johnny Fontaine in The Godfather.
You did kind of introduce this.
I did. This
You
is
bring
my
the
fault.
Martino thing in there. Now I'm thinking of Johnny Fontaine.
Yeah, this is all my fault.
Great job, Bill. Thanks a lot.
Not to be mistaken with Martini, which is in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, right?
That's right. Martini was played by Danny DeVito.
Yeah, he was good in that. He was good in that. Hit me.
He's good at Tom in Northeast. I love going into areas where Ray's going, what the hell?
Yeah.
You guys get talking about it.
You got to see that movie, right? It's a
No,
classic.
he's not going to see that either. Tom in Northeast Philly, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Tom.
Hey, what's up, Mike?
What's up,
How you
Tommy?
doing today, dude?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good. But one thing right before I get into the greatest team, counterpoint to the whole Julio Jones thing, if Matthew Stafford doesn't throw that ball away and hits a touchdown, this team's forgotten in the division round against the Rams this year. So, I mean, that's not a big thing. But as far as
You know what's funny about that? I thought Atlanta was going to score there. I didn't think the Rams were. I don't know why. It was just weird. I didn't take that Rams thing seriously. I said this is not going to happen with the Rams. But that Atlanta thing, I go, that's here it goes.
But they had 4 opportunities too.
Yeah.
Like I said, but as far as greatest, this roster is probably the best roster I've ever seen. But as far as I still think the 2017 offense was better. The numbers they were putting up during the season and postseason. I mean, even Nelson Aguilar, when he was in the slot, had great numbers. Alshon, Torrey Smith, you had Zach Ertz, you had the Clement, you had the running backs, the O-line.
Yeah, we were talking about all marginal players there, though, who just banded together.
Alshon
Alshon was solid, obviously, but the running backs and the other receivers. With all due respect to Torrey Smith, he wasn't that great that year. He made some catches.
He made some big catches. Yeah.
I mean, but as far like the running backs, Blunt and Ajayi, man, they were just running through guys. But I still think.
But think about that. Like those guys were older players. They're kind of banged up. Like they caught lightning. Like everything about that team caught lightning in a bottle. They weren't that accomplished.
I get that. I just think that offense was just incredible that year. And with Nick Foles, I was never because what he did when he was with Chip Kelly, I knew he could do what he could do. But as far as this year, this is definitely the best roster we've ever had. And if they win the Super Bowl, hands down, greatest team we've ever had. That's my opinion.
All right. Now, listen, I think they're the greatest team. It'll be disappointing now. I've set myself up if they don't win the Super Bowl, saying they're the best team ever.
Right.
If they don't win and Mahomes has this kind of magic, I might still think they're the best team ever. That just wasn't as good as the Chiefs in that particular game.
I think our defense is just going to dominate like it's been all season. I think Mahomes is going to have a bad day. I have more confidence this year than I did 2 years ago.
That's interesting. All right. Yeah, he could have a bad day.
He could.
Possible. He's had bad days.
But this is why I would be devastated, though. Because as good as this defense is, as everyone keeps highlighting, and they are, you may not have Zach Baun next year. You may not have Milton Williams next year. You may not have Josh Sweat next year.
So
as good as the
has
offensive,
to be the year.
It has to. And the offensive line, you may not have Mekhi Becton next year. Now, hopefully, Howie's able to figure out a way to bring a lot of these guys back, but we know there's going to be turnover next year. Saquon Barkley, there's that running back issue where once you have so many touches the year before, are you as effective the next year? Right. So there's a lot of factors where you go in the next season, and if they lose, you're talking about the Super Bowl hangover next year.
Yeah.
So I don't want to even have to worry about that. Let's win it now. You have a great opportunity in front of you. You're a better team than the Chiefs.
By the way, Torrey Smith yesterday gave a shout-out to Carson Wentz. And that was fair. Because Carson Wentz was playing like an MVP candidate, and he led them to, what did they do? Win 7 of the first 8?
Carson that year? They were, let's see, in 2017, they started 10-1.
Oh, there you go. So he started out, that's right, he was 10-1.
They lost the second game of the year to Kansas City.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But his play put them in a position to get that seed.
All right. I agree with you. But there's another great barroom conversation. And we can get into it on the other side of,
all right.
But if he doesn't get hurt.
If he doesn't get hurt.
Do they win the Super Bowl?
The way he was playing?
Let's talk about it on the other side.
All right. Mike Missanelli Show continues on 97.5 The Fanatic. Let's go back to the 2022 matchup against the Chiefs because we compared the offense, the defense, specific positions, special teams that year. What was the major play or one of the major plays in that Super Bowl?
Well, Aaron Sippis.
There it is.
Goes into that game. He's
Aaron
not 100%
Sippis.
healthy. Bad kick on that punt to Kadarius Toney. Big return.
Bang, 65 yards.
That was huge, man. That was huge. It was. And if you remember correctly, as good as that 2022 team was, their one weak spot all season was their special teams unit. And it comes back to haunt them at the worst possible time. Like, I wanted Michael Clay's job after that. I wanted him gone. But to his credit, they've rebounded. And last year, the one positive with this team was their special teams was pretty good.
Oh, but on that note, that loss in 2022 hit Jordan Mailata pretty hard.
It did.
So let's hear from Jordan, who talked about this. Jordan Mailata won, Ray. Do you have that?
No, I've always been, be where your feet are, next game mentality, and keep playing it. But I'd be lying. It took me, probably good. I want to say maybe until we started playing in September. Really, like in 23.
Wow, he was very emotional just describing it.
He was, man. It's got to hurt. You get that close to the top.
Love that Aussie accent. I'm a big accent man.
Yeah. What's your favorite accent? What's your favorite one?
I like the Hispanic accent.
Yeah.
This is why I'm trying to,
You're learning Spanish.
Yeah, trying to get back into it. All right, it's Greg in Bethlehem. Well, I haven't heard from Greg since 2 hours ago. No, Greg,
Yeah.
Greg loves the show. Greg, how you doing today, buddy?
Hey, I'm good. I'm
Good.
just checking in.
Good. I know. I'm just checking in. All right, that's good.
Well, I just want to make sure you guys are doing all right. One of the things I noticed
Appreciate that.
is Bill often changes gears without putting the clutch in.
Yeah. And there goes the transmission.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
When Greg laughs at his own jokes is my favorite. I love that, Greg.
Well, I got to make sure somebody's laughing at him. Hey,
You just did it again. Go ahead, Greg.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Listen, sometimes you have to be your own audience. It works.
Yeah. Hey, I thought that our game plan against Lamar and against Jaden Daniels in the last game defensively was pretty good. I think we played a lot of nickel, didn't we? Is that what we're going to have to do to keep Mahomes contained? Because, he's the wild card, obviously. We can compare everything. And, you always come down to the final wild card. And, I don't know how you can account for Mahomes because...
it's going to be interesting how they account for Mahomes. I don't know what Fangio's plan would be. Bill, you have any, you're the technical advisor here. If you're Fangio, how do you play the Chiefs offense?
I don't know what he's going to do because
they're not that dangerous.
No, they're not. Fangio's big MO is they try to prevent the explosive plays. But the Chiefs are not an explosive offense anymore. They don't have that explosiveness. Even Xavier Worthy, who was the fastest guy ever at the Combine, hasn't provided the level of explosiveness a lot of people thought he would. But I keep seeing this stat, Greg.
Yeah.
Mahomes is 8-0 against Vic Fangio in his career. So whatever he's done in the past, Fangio may have to change it up. But I'm not afraid of the big plays. I mean, look, take away Travis Kelce for sure. It'll be interesting to see who they match up against Kelce. It may be the rookie Cooper DeJean. You may see him on Travis Kelce a lot. But this offense is not a scary offense. But you got to figure out Mahomes is, whatever you're going to do to him, Mahomes is going to make his plays. You just know that. He's going to come up in big moments. But I am curious to see what Fangio does. And look, if I had the answer to that, if I had the answer of how you stop Patrick Mahomes, I don't think I'd be sitting here. Right? I mean, every defensive coordinator in the league has tried to stop Patrick Mahomes. They're in their third straight Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't know what you do with that guy. That guy's about as unique a quarterback as I've ever seen because he just can make a play by doing goofy stuff.
He can.
You know, it's weird. He's got these little toe-tappy steps.
I know.
You know?
I know that we'd had this conversation yesterday. Like, I always respected Brady towards the end of his career. I hated him early and then started to respect him. With Mahomes, I respected him, and now I'm starting to hate him.
Well, that's very interesting that you bring that up. Is he a hateable guy? Is he doesn't come off as a villain, but he's starting to be hated by because the Chiefs win too much, and so you get a reason. And now this is this Kermit the Frog angle with him, where he put that meme out after the game, and it's like
I don't know. There's just something about it. Just his way. And look, I really think for me, it's the begging for the calls, the begging for the penalties, the going out of bounds and stopping at the sideline trying to get a hit, and then flopping. We've talked about this. I just think when you are that good and you're the greatest of all time, you shouldn't be begging for calls like a baby. You just shouldn't be.
I know, you're Mr. Macho.
I can't. I just say it bothers me.
And I look at it, I go, well, we've had players in our past. We didn't notice that the players in our past in every sport used to do that. We don't notice that. But if somebody else does it, we're all over it.
I would hate, if Hurts was doing that, I'd hate it. I would absolutely hate it.
Hey, any edge you can get, I'm good with. 610-632-0975. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. Back after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The return of Brandon Graham. I'm Ray Dunn, and this update is brought to you by Tullamore Irish Whiskey, the original triple distilled, triple blended, and triple cast matured Irish whiskey. When it's game time, it's Tully time. The Eagles took the practice field Thursday as they began preparations for Super Bowl 59 against the Kansas City Chiefs. The team opened the practice window for Brandon Graham this week, and he was a limited participant in practice, saying afterwards that he felt good.
I don't feel restricted at all. It's a good balance, and man, whatever I got to do to get ready for this one game, I feel like I can do it. If I'm gonna go out there, it's gonna be full go.
Both Graham and Brayton Covey were limited at practice, with Landon Dickerson, Kenny Gainwell, Dallas Goedert, Cam Jurgens, and Devontae Smith all out with various ailments. 76ers returned to action tonight, playing their 4-game winning streak online against the Nuggets at 7:30. You can listen to the game live right here on The Fanatic. The Flyers lost 3-0 to the Islanders last night. Trade Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee to Calgary for a package of picks of players, headlined by Andre Kuzmenko. This update is also brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. I'm Ray Dunn, on the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic, 97.5thefanatic.com.
shortly on the Mike Missanelli Show. Stay tuned for that. As you know, this show is going to New Orleans. We'll be broadcasting there next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday leading up to the Super Bowl. So any kind of activity that's going on in the Radio Row area, hopefully we can snag like a primo guest or two as we're doing our program down there. And I believe, let me see, how many spots are there for Radio Row? We were able to get one of, let me see, I get the exact total. There's 158 spots that were up for grabs. And it's at this big Radio Row. For people who don't know, it's held at this big, it's grown every year, right? It used to be like 10. Because I remember being there when it was 10.
Well, yeah, definitely a lot more than 10. I'm looking at the floor plan, man.
Yeah, the floor, it's pretty wild scene. Not that anybody would care that we're on the scene. But it is interesting on how they parcel out these spots because you have to get a credential to get into the place. And so you have to apply for all that. So our crack staff, led by Program Director Scott Masseller, paved the way for us to get there. And it's interesting. They've given spots to a lot of colleges, which I think is a great idea. College kids that are, want to get into the broadcasting business. For instance, like Brandeis University has a spot. University of Houston Coug Radio, Syracuse University, Hofstra. A lot of HBCU radio programs. So I think that's great. But it is also weird, like some of the non-college spots that are given out. Like I don't know how these people, like the It Girl Guide. Like, what is that? The It Girl Guide.
I have no idea.
The Wisconsin Sports Zone Network. Now, why would they get a credential out of the blue? The Wisconsin Sports Zone Network.
Along the Wisconsin lines, too. Cheesehead TV. Did you see that one?
Cheesehead TV. A lot of Green Bay area. Like, it's set it straight. ESPN Wichita is going.
Train don't go out of Wichita.
I don't know. There are a lot of podcasts, too, that get spots. I don't know how they decide this. Here's one. Pro Football Ireland will be there.
Interesting.
That's a good choice.
Yeah, there's a lot of
ABC Radio Mexico. All right. Ryan Ripken Media. Who's Ryan Ripken? You know who that is, Ray?
In relation to Cal? Like the
I don't know. I don't think it's that.
No, Ryan Ripken does media, so I would, if I had to guess.
That's his kid?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Really?
Yeah, Cal's kid. I know Ryan Ripken does media down there in Baltimore area, so that would be my guess. The Ryan Ripken Show, yeah.
Our pals from Inside the Birds are going to be there.
Yes, they will.
See that?
Yeah, Inside the Birds will be there. Johnny Sunshine will be there with NBC Sports.
Johnny Sunshine will be there. It's random. There's a lot of random stuff. It's like I don't.
There's a lot. I'm looking at the names. I didn't even know some of these existed. Like that seem like they're big time ones. Like Cam Newton TV. Did you know Cam Newton had his own?
What?
I didn't know that either. Cam Newton Network.
Is that what it is? The Cam Newton Network.
That's CNN.
How about this one? We're going to the Mideast. Touchdown Bil Arabi will be there.
Hey, look, the NFL's trying to expand. You never know. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of universities, Fordham, Ithaca,
I think that's a great idea.
University of Houston.
Get the kids involved, get them that experience. I mean, that's fantastic, I think. But, these other media outlets, it's very interesting the way they decide. You only have so many spots, and you get turned down or you get accepted. I wonder what the criteria is. Anyway, we're in.
Yeah, it's my first Radio Row, so I'm really excited.
Yeah, this is your first Radio Row. You'll be all excited. The Wonderment of Bill, Ray.
Yeah, so
I'm excited.
The Wonderment of Bill will be broadcast next week.
The distraction of Bill being on Radio Row.
That's going to be hard.
Bill,
not to be
with
distraction.
Chat board, Radio Row, guests flying around New Orleans.
Yeah, how am I going to handle that?
Oh, my God, I don't know, Bill.
This is bad. This is very, very bad.
I don't know how I'm going to handle it. Well, you know what I can handle? Always remembering at the top of the hour, You got to tell us who people are listening.
Well, you're listening to WPEN, HD Burlington, Philadelphia, HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is noon, and that means it is time for the news at noon.
There's a whole lot going on in this world. It's time to catch up. Here's the news at noon. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
All righty. The news at noon brought to us by our good pal, Ray Dunn.
Well, your good pal. Apparently, he doesn't like me, according to Twitter.
He doesn't. He's told me.
That's not true.
He's told me on this.
We get along great.
Because I can't. This guy.
Like Hurts and Sirianni, man. We're just best of friends.
Just let me out of my straitjacket, Ray.
Okay. Oh, you think you're Hurts in this scenario?
All right, Ray, let's start the news at noon with one of our favorite podcasts.
Jeff Teague, he's just sharing too much again. Talking about road trips in the NBA and got into a little bit of, oh, yeah, in L.A., they'll bring a car out for you, take you right to the club, and then decided he was going to say, you know what, I'm just going to let everyone know what P.J. Tucker's up to on the road. Take a listen to the full clip here.
When I was a rookie, like we had landed in L.A., they had car services outside on the tarmac, ready to pick you up and go to the club. They don't even hit the hotel. I was going to drop my bag. I remember, I might be telling too much, but me and PJ one time, we was in Milwaukee. We got to Houston. We got there about 10:30 at night. He like, T, we up and down or we just going straight from the airport? I'm like, let's go up and down. Let me change my clothes. He like, man, that. Watch what I do. He has a brand new Porsche pick us up on the tarmac. So he get off the plane. So nasty yellow 911 on the tarmac. I'm like, it's nasty. Now, mind you, we on a road trip. He like, come on, T, let's go. I'm like, I'm going to take you to my shoe house. I'm like, bet. I'm like, man, look what I got on. I had on a sweatsuit. He like, bring your bag. So imagine me. I got a big luggage, the 911 trunk. He put his in. I'm in the front seat. I'm in the front of the 911 with a luggage like this, thirsty as hell. He like, man, don't worry about man. We ended up having a good time, but it was thirsty as
Small car, Jeff Teague, front seat, holding his bag just because they wanted to go out. They wouldn't go back to the hotel first.
Well, that's the way NBA players roll, man. That's the way they roll.
Yeah, not a bad life.
It reminds me of a story. So my freshman year of college, first time you come home for Thanksgiving, right? Now, I don't have a way to get home. I got no money to take a bus. So I call a buddy of mine. I go, yo, what are you doing? He goes, nothing. I go, can you ride up to State College and give me a lift home? Now, this is a big ask, right? So my man has a two-seat Austin Healey. That's his car.
Oh, no.
It's a two-seater. I go, all right, he's going to come up. Yeah, I'm good. It's a stick shift. He comes up with another friend of ours.
What? Would you sit on the guy's lap?
He comes up with another one. I go, what? Dude, what? Like, there's two seats.
What?
He goes, I didn't think that far ahead. He goes, I wanted company.
So what'd you do?
I had to squeeze myself in the middle where the stick shift was.
Oh.
Now, this dude can't see. He for some reason would never get glasses. So this is now, back then it was like a 4+ hour ride home. It's snowing. He's got his head on the windshield like this, trying to negotiate the road. We got all the way home. We get to Bristol, PA, right? We get into town. He's going to take me to my parents' house. He stops at a stop sign. He goes through the stop sign. This big German Shepherd at the same time is coming across the road. Boom! It runs into the Austin Healey. I go, oh, my God, you killed his dog. We get out. The dog walks away. His car's dented beyond belief.
My God.
What a tale. Anyway.
I'm looking at these Austin Healey's,
story
man.
than Jeff Teague.
These are nice, these Austin Healey's.
They're a two-seat British car.
Yeah. Looks like James Bond.
All right.
Anyways.
God, number two.
Just such...
He comes up with a guy. Think about this idiot. He brings a friend.
In a two-seater.
Two-seat car.
Little Bill Brain right there.
It is, Bill Brain.
All right, moving on. Golden Tate hopped on Marshawn Lynch's podcast and told a story from the 2018 Eagles season. It went viral. Let's take a listen.
Man, I remember I'm on a line of scrimmage, bro, in a walkthrough, and I'm not even gonna use the names, but there's a guy, offensive line, and Deuce Staley. I use Deuce. Yeah, I love Deuce. Deuce good. And they had some issues in the game before, and the guy on the line was like, "You see, Deuce, this is how this is how it's supposed to be. This is the call. When this guy's here, this is what you do." And then you got Deuce. Hold up. Who you talking to? You're not talking to me like that. Man, go ahead. He said, "No, this is my team. This is what I'm doing. I'm at the line of scrimmage." Eventually, they go back and forth, and next thing you know, homie on the line pick up the ball and probably like 15 yards away, throws the ball at Deuce. It seemed like it was in slow motion. Hit him in the stomach. Them jokers. And started wrestling and punching and all that stuff.
And they were serious.
Yes,
this wasn't no playful.
Meanwhile, you got Doug Peterson with his what's some hats that don't have the visor. With his visor on, holding his little postcard or whatever it is. hey guys, cut it out. Stop it, guys. Stop it. Eventually, I don't know who broke him up, but I'm getting involved in that. They act like nothing had ever happened.
There's so many things. First of all, you go, what's those hats that don't have a top?
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out who it was.
He's fine. Well, it's interesting. He wouldn't tell who that was.
Well, I'm looking at the starting offensive line that year. You had Kelsey, Sayamala, Jason Peters, Brandon Brooks, and Lane Johnson.
It had to be Brandon Brooks.
I don't know. Some people were saying it was Kelsey.
I kind of would lean that way.
Kelsey?
It's my bleeping team.
Brandon Brooks, he probably listens to the show. Brandon, you got to call up. Brandon Brooks, you can call up. You got to verify that.
Could have been Peters, too, though.
Maybe.
No, it would have been Peters because he was.
It was a walkthrough. Well, actually, that's probably more likely he'd participate in a walkthrough than an actual practice.
Well, I'm looking at
not going to pick a fight with Peters.
I'm looking at who would have like the cachet to go at a coach. I think Peters would do it. Kelsey would do it.
Only reason I would say Kelsey is because he doesn't say the name, and it seems like he would be protecting a prominent media member at this moment.
That is possible, but that makes it a better story, though, if it's Kelsey.
Fair. So maybe it's Peters?
Oh, man, I'm thinking it's somebody lesser.
I don't think anyone says my bleeping team.
I think it's BB.
All right. Fair enough.
All right. All right, let's move on.
Last one here. If you are sick of Dan Orlovsky, apparently you relate to Kellen Moore a few weeks ago. Orlovsky on the Pat McAfee show yesterday talking about a text he received from one Kellen Moore.
I was with Kellen for a couple years. Kellen and I competed to be a backup in Detroit for a couple years. He actually texted me last week or 2 weeks ago when I, was really critical of him on TV with some of his game plan, and he said, "Hey, thanks for the shout out. It's been a fun media week, LOL." So his personality, I think, has grown a lot. Like when I was with him, he was a little bit reserved, super intelligent, didn't necessarily like command a room like some guys do in a head coaching role, but I do think it's grown. I look at the text and I say, okay, he's a little bit more comfortable in his skin for him to text me that, and a little bit like a FU to me in many ways.
Well, he just buried Kellen Moore.
He did.
He just buried him. I know his personality is to lead a team.
Listen, I respect Orlovsky as an analyst. I do like a lot of the things he does. The video circulating social media right now of the way he eats a Reese's peanut butter cup.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that after the break.
Oh my God, Mike.
Yeah, 6-1. He's a weirdo when it comes to food. 610-632-0975 is how you climb into the show. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. Good time to get in. We're back after this.
Next week, the Real and Inside.
13, Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic. Let's get to the text board. A lot of people opining on this, whether this is the best Eagles team ever. Let's see what we got, Ray.
Yeah, we got Mike in Turnersville here saying, I think this is the best Eagles team. If they don't win, it'd be devastating. Then you need to take a good, long look at the head coach and the quarterback. Dougie P isn't a great head coach, but he called a great game in the Super Bowl. Foles was laid out the game. This is a must-win for Eagles and Sirianni. If they lose, Sirianni gets the blame.
All right, come on. If they lose to Andy Reid
I knew this would get him.
and Patrick Mahomes, we're going to have to take a long look at the head coach and the quarterback. The long look at the head coach and quarterback that have gotten to 2 Super Bowls in 3 seasons, 4 straight playoff appearances, that won more games this season than any team ever in Eagles franchise history. Like, I get it. I'm with Mike. I would be devastated if they don't win this football game. But take a long look at the head coach and quarterback. Like, is that texter suggesting that if they lose next Sunday, that they should fire Nick and draft a quarterback? I mean, like, come on.
So I'm not doing a good enough job.
I can't. I mean, that is a severe overreaction to losing to a team in the Super Bowl like the Kansas City Chiefs. Mike's just letting me go because he knows this was going to fire me.
Yeah,
it's not even my love for Sirianni.
I think it's outrageous too.
Like you can't. You lose to an all-time team like the Kansas City Chiefs with Reid and Mahomes, and now we're going to question the quarterback and the head coach.
Sometimes it goes too far now. He's gotten this team into the Super Bowl. If they lose to the Chiefs, look, even if he makes a blunder, like goes for it in his territory in a spot in a game that's important, and they don't get it, and the Chiefs convert that to a touchdown, and that turns out to be the game winner or something, he's going to get broiled for it. But you can't say, well, see, I knew he was eventually going to hurt this team.
You just sparked something in my head, like an interesting question here. You talk about making a decision to go for it or makes the wrong decision. How aggressive do you think they need to be in this Super Bowl with their coaching decisions? Because 2 years ago, you were going up against the number 1 offense in the league with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And they weren't very aggressive. They decided to kick a field goal instead of going for it on that 4th down, which I agreed with at the time, but in hindsight, maybe it was the wrong decision. Do you need to be that aggressive? Even though it's Mahomes on the other side, you got the number 1 defense in the NFL. You're going against an offense that has only put up more than 30 points once. How aggressive do they need to be in that Super Bowl? Do you think they need to, hey, we're going for it a lot. We're going to be.
No.
Play conservatively?
Well, your defense is great defense. Like, why would you get crazy? To me, I trust. What are the staples of my team? I run the football, control the clock. I don't take high-risk passes that can get picked off. We don't turn the ball over. And our defense, try to score on us.
Yeah.
Like, why would you get overly aggressive offensively? He would blow. See, maybe that's what this guy is worried about who texted us. That he would not process that and go, why would I need to be ultra aggressive here?
All right, well, let me give you
even though that's maybe my MO.
So let's give you the scenario because I know you have questions about the kicker. 4th and 5, 30-yard line, tie game. You letting the kicker go for a 47-yard field goal?
First of all, it's indoor.
So you're going to take the 3. You're not going to say, hey, we're going to try to keep scoring touchdowns. We're okay.
Yeah, he's indoor. His record indoor, if you look at
is good. Yeah. Good.
So, I'm taking points. This freaking Super Bowl. I got to take points. I can't mess around.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Chiefs' defense in the red zone. I mean, they've been good. They're a top 10 defense in the red zone. Yeah, I'm just wondering because I was
the 30. You're saying that's the 30 is money.
Yeah, you're not
that's
even
his money range,
and you're not in the red zone yet.
And even the 35 indoors is money range.
It's a 52-yarder though.
I get it.
Yeah,
but
I'm just wondering.
Going to trust the 52-yarder indoors.
I'm just
outdoors.
Looking at
I wouldn't.
In 2017, right when they win that Super Bowl, going up against the Patriots. Doug Peterson was extremely aggressive. I mean, you can't get more aggressive than going for a 4th and 1, running the Phillies special before the end of the half. Even though the Chiefs don't have the dominant offense, do you need to have that gas pedal to the floor? Like, be aggressive in your decision making. Don't settle for field goals because you know if you start settling for field goals, they could come back to haunt you against a team like the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know. I'm just they don't have that dominant offense, but I'm wondering if they need to just coach this game differently. Be more aggressive in this football game.
No. All right. So it's 610-622-0975. On the other side, we teased this Orlovsky thing. The question is Orlovsky, is he overexposed? Does he get on your nerves? A lot of people would say yes. He gets on my nerves for one reason. He's a man who doesn't appreciate food. There's nothing worse, in my opinion, than being what we call, Bill, in the culture, a Medagan when it comes to food. And we'll explain what this is all about after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Return to Brandon Graham. I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. The Eagles took practice field Thursday as they began preparations for Super Bowl 59 against the Kansas City Chiefs. The team opened the practice window for Brandon Graham this week. He was limited participant in practice on Thursday, saying afterwards that he felt good.
I don't feel restricted at all. It's a good balance. And, man, whatever I got to do to get ready for this one game, I feel like I can do it. If I'm going to go out there, it's going to be full go.
Both Graham and Britton Covey were limited at practice, with Landon Dickerson, Kenny Gainwell, Dallas Goedert, Cam Jurgens, and Devontae Smith among those who did not practice. They all sat out with various ailments. 76ers return to action tonight, putting their 4-game winning streak on the line against the Nuggets at 7:30. You can listen to the game live right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Flyers lost 3-0 to the Islanders last night, traded Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee to Calgary for a package of players and picks that was headlined by Andrei Kuzmenko. This update is brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. I'm Ray Dunn, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
It's time for Birds Playoff
Go ahead, Chris.
You see, I know you love Chris. Great song. But should we be starting with oh, and the Saints come marching in? Should we start getting like the jazz going now that we're getting ready for New Orleans? Should we be coming back to that? We're going to be eating beignets.
I wish.
In a couple of days.
Our audience could all see the look that Mike was giving Bill as he began to speak.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. When the Saints come marching in.
I don't know. What other jazz we going to have?
The Saints play there.
That's true.
We want the Saints to come marching in.
Did you see the Eagles will be...
The Preservation Jazz Hall. You want to go there? You want to hang out there?
I do want to listen to some live
How about we
music.
do this? How about this? Do a show Wednesday. After the show, go to Preservation Jazz Hall, get all banged up, and listen to the fellas.
Yeah, no, it'd be good.
Huh? That's the only jazz song you know.
That's all I know. That's all I know. We'll have some beignets, but did you see the
beignets and chicory?
What else? What other are they known for down there?
Well, chicory. It's the coffee.
And don't they have like the po' boys, right? That's their sandwiches. Don't they call them
muffaletta? The po' boys.
The Eagles are going to be utilizing the Saints facilities.
Crawfish
for their practice.
Crawfish
are good.
All right.
And
I'll do
the Chiefs are going to be at Tulane.
Oh, really?
So it'll be nice. Kellen Moore is going to get a nice lay of the land for his future coaching destination. Because they would have announced already, I think. If it wasn't Kellen Moore, they would have hired somebody already. You agree? I think it's a foregone conclusion. But talk about Orlovsky.
Speaking of mediocre quarterbacks.
Yeah, talk about Orlovsky.
First of all, who's more exposed, Dan Orlovsky or Jason Kelsey?
Who's more what?
Overexposed.
Oh, Kelsey. But I think
close.
It is. Orlovsky's on like every show on ESPN.
And that's why people get sick of him because he, I don't know. I'm kind of sick of him too.
He does a good job.
But I'm more offended by him.
Look, sports takes, I'm okay with Orlovsky. I think he does a good job. His food takes,
I'm offended by that. Now, in Italian culture, food's a big thing, right? You kind of respect the food angle. It's like a social existence, but it's also good cuisine. It's like cuisine we take seriously. So this dude, we already know that he gets Mentos, and he bites the candy part off of them to get the mint part, chews the mint, and spits it out. Yeah. Now, this is a guy who puts ketchup on steak.
That bothers me.
He unseasoned. He cooks cubes of chicken with no spices. He doesn't have spices in his house, not even salt. So he eats bland cube chicken, and his nachos are just nachos with bland cube chicken on it. And no jalapeno, no salsa, no nothing.
Did you mention the ice in the wine?
And he puts ice in red wine.
And now the peanut butter cup.
All right, now tell the people what he does with the peanut butter cup.
So Ryan Clark posted a video yesterday on social that Orlovsky, and it's a video of him. It was disgusting. He's taken the Reese's peanut butter cup. He's biting off the chocolate and then spitting the chocolate back into the little paper holder that the cup comes in just so he could eat the peanut butter.
Which is this is like a Bill thing. You got to get the protein with the peanut butter.
Well, no,
I'm okay. You can't have the extra calories with the chocolate.
Look, I'm okay with just eating the peanut butter. I'm a big peanut butter guy. I like almond butter, though. Almond butter, it's a superior
you're
butter.
One of those guys.
To the peanut butter.
You're a freaking almond
but
butter
I do like
guy
a good,
because it's better for you.
A little bit, but I do like a good crunchy peanut butter. But, I mean, really, it was disgusting. He's biting the chocolate off and spitting it out. Like, I'm hoping we see him down at Radio Row because I want to talk to him about this. I really do.
He has people talk to him all the time. And he now uses it like a badge of honor. And I go, dude, it's offensive. So not to respect food is offensive.
You mentioned the ketchup on the steak.
Like, you don't respect food either.
I have a lot of respect for food.
You don't, because you're always worried about there's too many carbs. Do this, do that.
I'm a foodie, as they say.
Yeah.
So you've been to expensive steakhouses before. what's your position on you're with a group of people and then the waiter comes over and someone orders a filet mignon and they say, how do you want it cooked? And they say, can I get it well done with a side of ketchup? I've had that happen quite often.
With what, friends?
Yes.
Quite often?
Yes, like attorneys that I would go to business dinners with and things like that. They would order, and you always see the waiter kind of just look at them like.
I feel bad for people who grew up that way because you grew up in a culture where food wasn't important.
Ugh.
And that's how it comes out.
Well, like you order something. See, the way I usually go, you order something, and they say, how do you want it cooked? I usually will say, not with steak. Steak I like it certain ways, but with other things, I'll say, what's the chef recommend? You know, like sometimes they ask you about like the salmon or tuna, whatever. Well, what's the chef recommend? Lamb. What's the chef recommend? Oh, he recommends this. Okay, I'll do that. I want whatever the chef thinks best is what I'm going to try.
Well, okay. I don't know how you eat unseasoned chicken because chicken doesn't taste like anything unless you season it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how could you not put salt on chicken?
No, you got to put something on it. But it was just, if I walked in to Ray's studio and he was biting the chocolate off of Reese's peanut butter cups and then spitting it out on the table, I mean, it's unsanitary too, Dan.
It's unsanitary.
I don't like how you're projected that would ever be a thing I'd do.
No, I don't think Ray would do that.
No, I wouldn't. I'm just saying. I don't even want to think about me being someone that would partake in that. It's gross. Horrible. Disgusting.
Let's go to the text board. Ray, a lot of texts are coming in. Give me the one on Big Dom. Well, I don't know, man. Big Dom might be more exposed than Orlowski. What's the text on Big Dom?
Kevin in Idaho. Morning, guys. I was left thinking after yesterday's show and about Mike's list of ranking what's transpired this season to get us to this point. Am I completely crazy to think that Big Dom on the sideline could have played a big part? If you remember, he was kicked off the sideline following the 49ers game last season. That's when the downward spiral began. We keep talking about Nick and the coaching staff not being able to right the ship and get back to where we were. Maybe he was the yin to Sirianni's yang. It's been reported that he's a calming presence for Sirianni and how much he's loved by current and former players along with the staff. I feel crazy thinking that, but if you're going to talk about W's and L's for Hurts and Sirianni, Big Dom's better.
That's a long text about our buddy Big Dom. It's hard to argue. I mean, Big Dom not on the sidelines last year. He's right.
It's not hard.
He's right. I don't know. Big Dom keeps it all together.
Listen, man, I know he's your buddy.
Like,
and I know he's immensely popular with everybody. Well, come on now.
So last year
think he's got a little bit too much pub.
Well, you remember last year that was tweeted out by Derek Gunn, if you remember correctly, that things have been different since Big Dom was suspended. And at first blush, you're like, man, that's crazy. He's a security guard. Well, one, he's not just a security guard, but two, last year's Super Bowl, the whole Media Row thing, Radio Row, Fletcher Cox, I think, was on with Rich Eisen. And Fletcher Cox said the same thing. Like, things were different when Big Dom wasn't there. There is something to be said. Look, he's more than just a security guard. I don't think he's the sole reason that they're having the success, but he is a part of it. He is a part of it. And when we talk about culture, he's certainly a part of that. And did you see Pete Davidson rocking the Big Dom T-shirt last night?
Waiting for that.
He loves them for some reason. Pete Davidson loves
He loves the Eagles now for some reason. Apparently he's been in all the games.
Wait, where was he wearing the Big Dom T-shirt?
That's a great question. Johnny Sunshine had it. That's where I saw the tweet. John Clark was the one to tweet that out.
Why would you get all those tats removed? Why would you go through that painful process? Like, it takes like several visits to get those tattoos out.
I think I've asked you before. Any tats?
No, I don't. I missed the tat era. I would have, and I always wanted one. I just didn't know where to go with it.
So I have my two kids' names, but now I just had.
You do?
I just had a third.
You're tatted up.
Child. So I have to figure out what I'm going to do for my daughter now. I can't have it for my first two and not.
I want. If I got one, it would be a saying, like some inspirational thing, like on my rib.
What about like "You're not wrong," Bill Colarulo?
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be that. It would be like something, some short.
Oh, how about Google me?
Inspirating. No,
that'd be great.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna walk around with Google me.
We could do Google me.
Works in a very interesting
way.
way.
I'm on to something here. We could go.
You would be wrong.
Google
me.
Okay. And then you could have like the QR code that someone could actually scan that brings us to your Google or Wikipedia page.
You would be wrong, but that's okay.
You would be wrong, but that's okay.
I think if there's going to be one, I like that one as the choice.
No, I need something like really inspirational. I'm going to try to figure it out. Like something Gandhi-esque.
Well, dance
Like,
like,
I need it.
dance like nobody's watching.
No. I'm talking about
Love
really
like you've never been hurt.
Like Gandhi-esque inspirational. Not that kind of stuff.
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown and amuse you?
Negadelphia. We got to think of something for Mike.
That's the funny thing that makes me chuckle.
What about your favorite band, the T-shirt you're rocking?
People still don't know what I'm rocking.
Yeah, stand up for YouTube because they didn't switch the camera.
I'm going to wait till Ray plays it.
All right, maybe when we come back.
When Ray's holding out on this song for a long time. I think Ray is building up the drama as a good producer.
Hold on, and before we do that, people on YouTube, Bill looks like he has a tribal or barbed wire on his arm. No tribal or barbed wire on mine.
Yeah, you would look like a tribal guy.
No, I don't have it. I have my kids. I got a fraternity tattoo that,
Is that to remind you what their names are? Like what
I don't know. It's like to honor them. It's on my heart. It's all right over my chest right here. I got
Why
their
didn't
names.
you get the photos of them? Because now I can do those.
Yeah, it's just their names. It's simple.
Get photos.
Simple.
As like the little kids.
I do have a really embarrassing tattoo story that I'm kind of reluctant to share, but.
You like women with tats?
Appropriate amount. I mean, there's some women pull it off better than others. Same thing with, some guys could pull it off better than others, but yeah, I'm going to save the embarrassing tattoo story. We're not going to get into that.
It's funny. I was watching that band last night. There was 4 females in it. No tats.
Really?
Yeah. And they're punkish. Very surprising to me. Anyway, 610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Coming up, it's a Birds weekend this weekend.
On the Mike Missanelli Show. You know, this is we're all over the place today, which is, it's a Friday show. We got many days before we get to really talking about the game. And we'll talk about the game, the matchups, and all that kind of thing, and whether this is the best team. My mind wanders. Then I read a lot of newspapers still, right?
Wonders, like, goes in a different direction, or wonders, like, is curious?
It wanders.
Wanders.
Yes, not wanders.
Like, Wander, the song.
So I'm looking at, you scroll the newspaper online, the Philadelphia Inquirer. Obviously, that's near and dear to my heart, so I still give it loyalty. So right before you get to the sports page, there's the last page of the Philly and region section. Ready for these headlines? On this one page.
Let me hear.
Top of the page. 2 charged in failed murder for hire plot. 2 guys in prison. One that killed a guy's ex-girlfriend. Right? Okay, all right. Next one. Bucks man accused of stabbing his dogs to death.
Yeah, man. I don't. This is part of the reason I don't.
It's not done. It's not done. The story below it. Body found in trash can in W. Philly Park. Jesus. Can we? And then it's the next page. Sports page. Hello, everybody.
Yeah. Eagles are in the Super Bowl.
Jesus, come on. What's going on here? All right, back to the text board. Text on the best team and Nick Sirianni, Ray. What's that say?
Yeah, we got a texter that wants something that I know Bill has been very, very excited about for quite a while here. Jeff checking in with us. Best Eagles team all around offense and defense. I believe that we will win. And also re-sign Nick to a bigger contract. He deserves it. Jeff the mailman.
Yeah, Jeff the mailman is right on board with that. He does deserve an extension.
Yeah, I mean, he'll get one.
Well, yeah, but in the offseason, they'll give him one.
Yeah, they'll have to. Because Laurie's not going to bring him back as a lame duck. He doesn't do that.
No. And if he loses, he's going to face criticism. See, I knew it. I knew that guy couldn't take us all the way. You're going to hear that. We're going to be dealing with that if they lose. If they win, well, you're talking about him being exalted in a parade. And finally, people will come around to you, Bill, that he is the coach for the ages.
If they win. Yeah, I mean, if they win, it's hard to hold on to the hate. I mean, there's still going to be people who believe it's more because of the roster and the coordinators. I get it, but.
All right, so on that note, earlier in the show, I said, if they're the best team ever, and we made a case for this team being the best Eagles team ever. We compared it to 2017, and we compared it to 2022, and then we even went back to 2004. So if this is the best Eagle team ever, it would be a damn shame if they didn't win. Because you will have squandered an opportunity that your best team ever couldn't win the Super Bowl.
And we've seen it. It's not easy to get back the next year. You know,
so from that standpoint, it would be devastating. Because I was on the record saying, if they lost to a better team, we'll see if that has to play out. This team knows how to win that they're playing. So if they lost, I wouldn't be devastated. But now, if I put it in this context, I think I would be devastated that they will have squandered a chance that their best team ever couldn't even win it.
Yeah, that's for me. And we talked a little bit about this earlier in the week, too. It's not only because the Eagles have their best team ever, it's also because everything kind of lined up perfectly this year with the state of the NFC and even with the Chiefs. Like, as good as the Chiefs are, they're not as dominant as they were 2 years ago. So, there's everything right in front of you where now could be the best opportunity to win this damn thing. And I know this team's young. I'm hoping that this is, as Doug Peterson would say, the new norm. But there's just no guarantees. That 2004 team, we talked about it earlier, 2004 team, as good as they were, they never got back. Things started to fall apart after that. The next year, T.O.'s doing sit-ups on his damn driveway. I mean, this is what happens when you don't win.
Yep. All right, let's get back to the phones. We got Rob and Marion. Rob, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Rob.
How you doing?
What's going on, Rob?
So I've looked at a lot of different things, trends, and I really think it comes down to two things. For years, they talked about our defense not being able to beat the top quarterbacks. And this year, by my count, they won 8 times. They beat Love twice. They beat Stafford twice. They beat Daniels twice. They beat Lamar. They beat Burrow. So that goes out the window. That doesn't concern me. And then the other thing is, football is a game of physicality and aggression. And I think we are the most physical team on both sides of the ball. One thing stuck out to me. Every time there's a ball on the ground, we recover it because we always have 4 or 5 guys fly into the ball.
It's a good point. It's a good point. They are more physical. Now, they have to handle an all-world player on that line, Chris Jones. So, but this offensive line, I have no worries that they won't be able to do that. So you're right. You're right. They fly to the ball.
And they're the most physical offensive line I've ever seen. I mean, when they get to the next level, they're throwing guys around like they're rag dolls every game. And you see it when you see how they score at the end of the game, end of third, fourth quarter. Other teams are just worn down.
It's a good call, Rob. I mean, Rob's spot on, man. They dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football. And the great thing about the defense, and this is where the Vic Fangio effect comes in, with his teaching ability and everybody on that defensive side of the football knowing what their roles and responsibilities are on every single play, it allows you to play physical. You're not thinking, what do I need to do? Where do I need to be? It becomes instinctual because of how much they've just ingrained in your head what your responsibility is on each play. You could play fast, you could play physical, and you're seeing it. Last year, they didn't have that at all under Sean Desai and Matt Patricia. Guys were confused. Guys didn't know where to go.
Yep.
So, man, that's a good call by Rob.
All right, 610-632-0975. On the other side, we're going to go down the matchups that will be very important for the Eagles and the Chiefs in this game. The Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Return of Brandon Graham. I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. The Eagles took practice field Thursday as they begin preparations for Super Bowl 59 against the Kansas City Chiefs. Team opened up the practice window for Brandon Graham. He was a limited participant in practice. Said afterwards that he felt good.
I don't feel restricted at all. It's a good balance, and man, whatever I got to do to get ready for this one game, I feel like I can do it. If I'm gonna go out there, it's gonna be full go.
Both Graham and Brayton Covey were limited in practice. Landon Dickerson, Kenny Gainwell, Dallas Goedert, Cam Jurgens, and Devontae Smith were amongst the guys who did not practice with various ailments. The 76ers returned to action tonight, putting their 4-game winning streak on the line against the Nuggets at 7:30. You can hear the live call, that one live right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. The Flyers lost 3-0 to the Islanders last night and also traded Morgan Frost, Joel Farabee to Calgary for a package of players and picks that's headlined by Andre Kuzmenko. This update is brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio, get an extra 5% off. I'm Ray Dunn, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Mike Missanelli Show. Tyrone brings in candy every day. Somebody brought in these Trader Joe peppermint patties.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that was Tyrone because he's usually more of the gummy
maybe
variety.
Somebody else brought it in.
He always brings in those like sour peaches and stuff. I love those.
And I'm a big fan. I was a movie goer fan of the York peppermint patty.
But that would be your go-to candy at the movies?
No, it was my go-to. But occasionally, if I wanted to be refreshed, they're very refreshing.
Now, my go-to at a movie theater would always be popcorn with goobers. Loved the chocolate-covered
popcorn
peanut.
and Raisinets guy.
Yeah, we talked about that. That's too sweet on sweet. I like the salty sweet. So I like chocolate-covered pretzels, chocolate-covered almonds.
What do you mean?
It's sweet on sweet with the raisin.
But you're balancing with the popcorn.
Yeah, too much sweet on sweet. You need the mix with the nut.
All right.
Huh?
Ray, what?
Well, I thought you were going to say something earlier when someone said
I don't think
that
I've
Big
known.
Dom was Sirianni's Yang. That was what the texter said.
Uh-huh. But I heard that's what they wrote.
I don't think I've known anybody who would choose goobers over Raisinets.
Oh, I think you're wrong.
No.
Brandon, put up a Twitter.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody mention goobers.
Hold on, I'm going to have Brandon put it up in the YouTube chat. Put up a quick poll in the YouTube chat, Brandon.
I guarantee you.
Goobers or Raisinets?
You are getting smoked in that poll.
Hopefully Brandon's paying attention. We'll see if it goes up in the chat.
By the way, the 12 o'clock hour is brought to you by Service First Heating and Air Conditioning. Get 0% financing for 72 months and a $500 rebate when you purchase a complete heating and cooling system from Service First. And you can learn more at ServiceFirstHVAC.com. All right, just quickly, we've already established that this is probably the best Eagles team ever. It would be a shame if they don't take advantage of that, win the Super Bowl. But here are some matchups that we look at. And this is the one thing, it's getting some pub now. The Chiefs defended the Bills' tush push last week. Even though that quarterback is a big man and he runs the sneak very well, the Chiefs think they've figured out a way to stop the tush push. Is this a factor in this game, Bill?
I mean, it was surprising to see. I think they stopped Josh Allen, was it 2 or 3 times in that game?
Uh-huh.
So it's potentially a factor, but the Eagles are just so damn good at it. See, the one difference is what they figured out with Josh Allen is he tends to want to go left a little bit. Like he goes lateral before he goes forward. You don't get that with the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles are just straightforward, and I'm going to love to see them kind of do what they did to the Commanders, which is come up in hard count a little bit. I'm not worried about it. I can't imagine the Chiefs are going to be able to stop, especially now. Let me throw in a caveat. How healthy is Cam Jurgens? How healthy is Landon Dickerson? We're still waiting on what their availability is. I'm assuming they're going to play, but I'm not concerned about it. I think the Eagles have shown they can't be stopped with that.
All right. I think those guys are going to be fine, by the way. Okay. Let me look at another factor here on how Spagnuolo will play the Eagles' offense. They've been pretty good at stopping running backs. This is a different running back than the ones they've stopped, however. And usually Spagnuolo will throw an extra man in the box. The people are estimating that he may also stack wide to prevent Saquon from getting to the edge. But, Saquon, I think, is more dangerous between the tackles anyway. So the extra man in the box will try to curtail that. But if they do the extra man in the box, then you're talking about singled up receivers that maybe Hurts has to get to.
That's why, look, I mean, this is what makes me laugh sometimes with these national analysts who write these articles or who go on these talk shows. We don't think that every other team has gone into these games this season against the Eagles and said, we have to try to put a game plan in to stop Saquon Barkley. Of course they have. But to that caller's point earlier about how physical this Eagles team is, you can scheme up all you want. At the end of the day, it's going to be the offensive line, body on body, and Saquon Barkley is going to be one-on-one in the hole with somebody, and you're not going to be able to bring the guy down. So Spagnuolo can think of anything he wants to think of. I'm still giving the edge to the Philadelphia Eagles in this football game. You're not going to be able to stop Saquon.
All right, you are listening to Mike Missanelli Show on WPEN and WPEN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. All right, folks. Let's go back to the text board because earlier we said, how would you coach in this game if you're Sirianni? Would you be ultra aggressive or would you trust what you rely on most, which is your defense is going to stop them? Your offense with Saquon Barkley is going to churn them. So why would you try anything overly aggressive? What's the text board say, Ray?
Brian from Dallas, Mike and Bill, you bring up the only scenario where we could lose this game, and that is Nick outthinking himself. We are the better team. We don't have to chase them by being over-aggressive with high-risk chunk plays at unnecessary times of the game or trick plays. Take the points and take the 5-yard passes. I do think Nick should dial up the slant to Smith in that 7-yard in-cut to A.J. Moore to get the ball out of Hurts' hands to force Spags out of blitzing so much. But if Nick just plays smart, and I think he will because he's not the same coach he was at the start of the season, we will win this game by 10 at least.
Ooh! A 10-point victory in the Super Bowl would be a statement beyond belief. The dominant team, the best team in their history, they win the Super Bowl by 10.
So I know ESPN did a segment like this. I think it was yesterday where people were giving just their gut feelings right now. And we'll see if my feeling starts to change before next Sunday. I'm starting to lean that way too, man. I'm thinking towards the end of that fourth quarter, we're going to be sitting there comfortably saying, oh, my God. Eagles are winning this damn Super Bowl. I think they're going to. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win easy. That's my gut.
I will start to feel that way if the line goes up. I mean, in the Eagles' favor.
Yeah.
You know, if this flips the Eagles +1, +1.5. I think you're right.
I'm looking at it, and again, that caller. We've had some great callers today, pointing out the fact of the Eagles' defense against top quarterbacks this year. Because that was something with Jonathan Gannon as the defensive coordinator that we always questioned, that good quarterbacks would pick them apart. This Eagles defense is so good, man. They have been so good all season long. The only blip on the radar after the bye was that fluky fourth quarter against Jaden Daniels in that loss when they didn't have Jalen Hurts. And I don't know. I don't know.
We also have a text who the texter is talking about the refs. So here we go with this now, with the refs. All right, what do you got, Ray?
I'm kind of happy. We got about 2.5 hours into the show without receiving ones from 12:47. So we did better than we did yesterday. I'm not worried about beating the Chiefs. How can we beat the refs? That was a bogus call that ended our Super Bowl 2 years ago. I'm sure the refs will find a way to help the Swifties three-peat.
People, you're killing me now.
Hold on, Mike. Before you go off on the texter, Sean McDermott, Bill's head coach.
I read it.
Yes, he added fuel to this fire because he said the other day, I don't know who he was talking to when he gave this interview, but he said, we went into the game, and one of my messages to the team, and this happens from time to time, you're not going to get the calls. We're not going to get the calls, and I think you prepare a team, you prepare them ahead of time mentally for this is the way it's going down.
He's got a lot of balls because his quarterback couldn't pull it out down the stretch, and he had an opportunity to do it. Did that have anything to do with the refs? They would have won the game if Josh Allen completes a couple of passes there. Instead, they squandered that whole drive.
Yeah.
And then had to go for it on fourth down.
He's not the only coach. What did D'Amico Ryans say after the divisional round?
Both of them, poor losers. They lost. You see, when you're a loser like that, you can to deflect your responsibility of calling better plays or coaching better to beat them. You rely on that, and it offends me. I hate that.
D'Amico.
And those guys should know better.
We knew going into the game. It was us versus everybody. When I say everybody, I mean everybody.
Pathetic. Let's go to Rich in North Philly. Rich, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Rich.
Mike, what's up, my brother?
What's going on, Rich?
I'm good. Look, I wanted to ask you about this guy, Abdul Carter, I think his name is. He's on Twitter.
You think his name is Abdul Carter? You think? Yes, his name's Abdul Carter. He's a top 5 pick, Rich.
Who? Right, he said he wanted to come to the Eagles.
He's a local guy. He went to LaSalle High School.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Come on, man.
A friend of mine just turned me on to him. He was at work talking. He was like, "Yo, this guy Abdul Carter, man."
Come on, Rich. You got to keep up, Rich. You got to keep up.
You're right. You're right.
He's not going to be there at 32.
No, he's a top 5 pick, Rich. You're not getting him.
Hey, listen. As far as the too many tattoos on the lady thing, it gives me ED, man. It gives me ED, man. It gives me ED.
It gives you ED.
Too many. What? What?
See, I think it has the opposite effect on me. I like it.
Oh, man. Where are we going here?
I like it.
Hey, Miz, one thing real quick. The Goobers versus the
Raisinets.
Raisinets. You might as well eat M&M's, man. Peanut M&M's if you go eat Goobers. Same thing.
Yeah, but what?
You know what you need? You need like 7 gallons of water when you eat Goobers.
The early votes are in on the YouTube poll.
Well, you got to be getting smoked on this.
You want to know what it is right now? And it's still going up. 50%, 50%. It's a perfect split.
I've never known anybody who bought Goobers. I swear to God. It's like I look at them in the case. I go, who buys the Goober? If you got Raisinets and you got Goobers, you're going to choose the Goobers?
Absolutely. Hold on. And that caller was talking about Abdul Carter. Ironically, NFL.com put out a mock draft today.
Yeah.
Tennessee Titans have the number 1 overall pick.
Going to take him?
Abdul Carter is who they have.
That's why I say he's top 5. He might be even better than that. I mean, he's the new age rusher. You know, he's the guy that gets to the quarterback. That's a primo position, and he's the best at it.
But I got a major problem with this mock draft.
What do you got?
They have the Eagles picking 31st and the Chiefs picking 32nd.
Really?
So you know what that means?
Well, they're picking the Chiefs.
They got the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, let's see. 610-622-0975. All of a sudden, we got a full board. A lot of people checking in. We'll get to everybody on the Mike Missanelli Show after this.
ESPN's Tim McManus on the
On the Mike Missanelli Show.
Oh, Michael.
What? What do you got?
I just opened up my Twitter.
Uh-huh.
I don't agree with Robert Griffin often, our RG3.
Uh-huh.
He just tweeted out. Oh, man, I don't even know what I'm going to say it. I'm so excited. Nick Sirianni is one of the best coaches in the NFL.
Hell yeah.
In 4 years, 2 Super Bowl appearances with different coordinators, 2 NFC championships, highest winning percentage among active NFL coaches, 100% on making the playoffs. The numbers don't lie. Sirianni is a top NFL coach. RG3. RG3.
You say RG3
like he's Tom Brady?
Yeah, like it's something I need to pay attention to.
It just happened to be the first thing that popped up.
Okay.
I think Twitter's listening to me, and they're feeding me what they know I want to see.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to the phones. Let's talk to Ralph in Levittown. What's up, Ralph?
What's up, Mike?
How you doing?
How's everything?
Good, man.
Yeah, I have a question. The last Super Bowl, I went to the Frisco Championship, and the Eagles were very physical. They were hitting really hard.
Mm-hmm.
When it came to the Super Bowl, they seemed to have changed their whole game plan. Like, they weren't hitting anymore. They were backing off from Mahomes. And I was curious, in the Super Bowl, do they have production meetings about how to play the game right?
They had production meetings about how to play the game right.
Well, not how to play, but to get these guys to, like, throw more or run, like, different schemes.
I'm not sure what you're asking here, Ralph.
Well, when the Eagles went to the last Super Bowl, when they played Frisco, they were hitting really hard. I was at the game. They were hitting even after some of the plays. But when they got to the Super Bowl, they kind of backed off Kansas City. Like, they weren't, like, hitting as much or hard. You know what I mean? They're playing.
I don't recall that, but this is. This is a defense, Ralph. This is a great defense.
Yeah,
this is
I
a
know.
defense that flocks to the ball. I don't think they got a new defensive coordinator who's going to make sure that happens.
Yeah, I had called because I was worried about that, and they did exactly what I thought.
No, I don't think they're going to be timid. I think they're going to be the opposite.
You think?
Yeah, you might see a couple roughing penalties.
Oh, okay. That's what I was just wondering if they changed style because it's like the big.
No, I don't know. I can't tell you what happened back then. I didn't notice that they got timid.
Well, you remember
maybe they on their heels because they were afraid of Mahomes. I don't think that's going to happen this time.
Oh, you remember 2022, and I know you get mad about excuses, but the field certainly didn't help.
The field.
I mean, look, you
forgot about the field.
The 70-sack season.
You know what's really funny about that game? When the Eagles were playing on it, they got the loose turf. During the commercial break, they brought in
no. See, this is where you're missing the point.
They brought in the good turf.
The turf
for the commercial.
The field conditions played to the Chiefs as an advantage because the Eagles had the most dominant pass rush that we've seen since 1985 Chicago Bears, and it slowed them down. And that allowed, like to this caller's point, which I'm not sure about the production meeting thing, but it didn't look like they were being as aggressive with Mahomes. They couldn't get traction. How many times did we see Hassan Reddick, who really should have been a Defensive Player of the Year finalist back then, or even the winner, slip in that game? So it's not saying, both teams had to play on that field. No, it was an advantage for Patrick Mahomes and the offense that they were able to slow down the Eagles' pass rush.
So it was an advantage for the field was an advantage. The loose field was an advantage for Patrick Mahomes scrambling around and finding guys.
Absolutely.
It was.
There was no doubt.
So he could negotiate the turf, but the Eagles' defense couldn't.
No, not when you're watching. When you're a defensive lineman.
That's why it doesn't make sense.
And you're trying. No, it does make sense. First of all, there's a reason why when they talk about snow games,
offensive line still has to protect.
But there is
on bad fields.
There is a reason why when they talk about snow games that in a lot of ways sometimes the offensive player has the advantage when you have a snowy field because you know where you're going. The defense doesn't.
The offensive line had the advantage if they had a problem moving around with the
because
turf.
There's no explosiveness coming off that defensive line. You saw Reddick.
Still got to have great
How
footwork.
many times did Reddick slip?
Offensive line is all about positioning and great footwork. Come on now. Come on, Bill.
Come on.
Come on, Bill.
The advantage between the offensive line and the defensive line, it goes to the offensive line with that field.
Let's go to Aaron in Jeffersonville. Aaron, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Aaron.
Michael, how you been, buddy?
What's up, Aaron?
Not much.
Hey, Aaron, how'd you like that Flyers trade, first of all? You're Mr. Flyer.
I thought that's what you wanted to talk about, but I'm going to skip over that for a second.
No, I know. I rely on you for the Flyer expertise.
Yeah, I mean, they got a guy who played with Mitch Goff, and they're a year away, man. But we'll see what happens.
All right.
They need a goaltender.
Okay.
So,
we've been saying a year away for years.
Yeah, well, what is what it is. They're about as close as the Sixers are. So, did you hear Bain? You had a previous caller talk about the physicality of the Eagles.
Yeah.
I've been going to game for years. I've never looked at the offensive line as much as I have this year. My line, did you hear Mike mic'd up? He had the perfect line. It's got to be on a T-shirt. He quoted Bain when he was mic'd up, said, I didn't know. I was wondering which would break first, your body or your spirit.
Yeah.
And that's exactly. He literally quoted Bain in the mic'd up. He said it to one of the defensive players on the field. I mean, you look at the Kansas City Chiefs 2 years ago and the Eagles 2 years ago, we are a much better team. First of all, I think we overrated Miles Sanders. And we were, walking into that game, I thought we could hang with them. I was surprised the game, when we went up on them and stuff like that, and we actually should have won the game. But the Eagles are a better team from 1 to 53. They're a better team from 1 to 44, how many people play. I mean, I just don't see objectively how Kansas City is going to win the game. I think they have, I just think the Eagles have the better. I think they have the better team from top to bottom. I don't see how, outside of the quarterback and the tight end, who is really a problem on the Kansas City Chiefs. Chris Jones, I guess.
Yeah, you might be right about the roster. The Chiefs win, and I don't think you can just slough that off. They are seasoned enough to do what it takes to win.
So I agree with that, but you know who's developed that culture? The Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, every game you talked about, when the Chiefs barely beat somebody, they're the Chiefs. When we barely beat a team, we suck.
But why? But here's the guy. Why did they
win Super Bowls?
Why did they beat somebody? Why did the Chiefs beat somebody? What's the most important position?
Quarterback and their coach.
All right. Well, there you go. I mean, that guy is magic. So
let me ask you a question. Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. Let me ask you a question. When you were on the air before you took your hiatus, and Howie Roseman was an obvious mess. Look at what Howie have you ever seen anything like this over a 7-year period? I mean, to go from Wentz to Foles to Hurts, to go from one offensive line to another, to have 8 different defensive players on the number 1 defense in the league. And by the way, their defensive stats, as good as they are a lot better. How many garbage time points did they give up this year? At least 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, no, he's had a phenomenal run. It wasn't that long ago where people were criticizing Howie Roseman, right? Yeah. And this is it's a cyclical business, right? Sometimes you hit, sometimes you don't. He hit. Fortunate for him, he hit.
When you say it wasn't that long ago that people were calling for Howie Roseman's job, you could go back to 2020 when he drafted Jalen Reagor. Mm-hmm. Listen to what he's done after that. Jalen Hurts in the second round that year. Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson, Milton Williams, Kenny Gainwell, trades a first-round pick for A.J. Brown, gets Jordan Davis, Cam Jurgens, Nakobe Dean, even Grant Calcaterra, then Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Tyler Seaton, Sidney Brown, Keely Ringo, even Maro Ajomo in the 7th round, Quinion, Cooper, Jalix Hunt, Will Shipley, even Johnny Wilson contributing this year. Reed Blankenship, an undrafted free agent in 2022. Signed Saquon, Zach Bond, Mekhi Becton, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson this year. I think he's made up for the 2020 draft pick of Jalen Reagor. It's time we forgive Howie Roseman, please.
I think most people have. I don't think anybody hasn't forgiven him. 610-632-0975. We'll get to Carlos, too, as one of our callers, saying the Eagles win by double digits. A lot of confident people out there. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The return of Brandon Graham. I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update, and it's driven by Gary Barbera. Is Gary Barbera the best? Boy, I guess. Birds head coach Nick picks Barbera Chiefs, and let's pray for the healthy return of our big Ram man, Brandon Graham. Gary Barbera is making the final playoffs. Payoff all together now. Is our Super Birds at the Superdome the best? Boy, I guess. Go Birds. The Eagles took the practice field Thursday as they begin preparations for Super Bowl 59 against the Kansas City Chiefs. The team opened the practice window for Brandon Graham. He was a limited participant in practice, saying afterwards that he felt good.
I don't feel restricted at all. It's a good balance. And, man, whatever I got to do to get ready for this one game, I feel like I can do it. If I'm going to go out there, it's going to be full go.
Both Graham and Britton Cup were limited at practice, with Landon Dickerson, Kenny Gainwell, Dallas Goedert, Cam Jurgens, and Devontae Smith amongst those who did not practice with various ailments. 76ers turned action tonight, putting their 4-game winning streak on the line against the Nuggets at 7:30. You can listen to the live call of that game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. The Flyers lost 3-0 to the Islanders last night. Trade Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee to Calgary for a package of players and picks, headlined by Andre Kuzmenko. This update's also brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code RADIO and get an extra 5% off. I'm Ray Dunn, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic, 97.5thefanatic.com.
go. There it is. All right, for the people that can't read my T-shirt, they told me if I went to this concert, I had to get it. So there it is.
There it is. Mikey Miss
Band
trekking
that
his way to
I saw
Delaware.
last night. Mannequin Pussy from Philadelphia. Wild time last night at a place in Wilmington, Delaware called The Queen. Really cool venue.
Yeah, he said it was cool.
Old time type of mini opera house, and you had the balconies and those kind of levels. That's a wild band, man. For the people that know the music scene in Philly, they've got a couple good songs out there. This girl, it's 4 women and a dude.
He said he was rocking a blazer with no shirt.
They're like, it's funny because they like have an alt sound to them, but they're also can get really loud and punky. And so last night, for the first time in a while, I saw a crazy mosh pit. I mean, these people were spinning, and it was crazy.
You should have got in it.
Constant. I was up in the upper deck, man. I don't do that floor anymore. Come on.
So you sent us a video to Ray
of the song that we just played.
Yeah, and the best part
Sometimes
I learned today from Ray that you always mention the band. You always say Mannequin Pussy. So Ray, being the great producer he is, went and researched the FCC rules that we are permitted to say the band name.
Because it's a band name.
When did you do that, Ray? The first time or recently?
If you remember, we had the list of songs that was given me. It was a song that had not yet made its way through the rotator, and Mike had believed I was withholding it due to the name of the band.
Yes.
Because of the name of the band, I did then go look it up because I knew it was going to become a topic of conversation. So I was slightly scared there for about
Ray doing his due diligence.
Now, the girl who fronts it, I don't know if anybody knows where she went to school or whatever. Her name is Missy DeBice. D-A-B-I-C-E. She's wild. Girl's wild.
Oh, yeah. Marissa DeBice, but she goes by
herself
Missy.
And she did it Go Birds and an Eagles chant.
Oh, you just reminded me, too. Did you see Fletcher Cox called out the mayor for her Eagles chant when she was on the field on Sunday? He said to her, "How do you spell Eagles?"
Come on, Fletcher.
He didn't hold back. He said right to her face, "How do you spell Eagles?"
Throw it straight out to the mayor. We already dealt with that, didn't we? All right, by the way, speaking of the Eagles, I saw this for the people. The mall I grew up going to was called the Oxford Valley Mall in Langhorne, right? So tomorrow, Oxford Valley Mall is hosting a signing event featuring 5 Philadelphia Eagles players. Big Play Slay. That's the way it's advertised. Brandon Graham, who now has the go to participate.
Looks that way.
And I'm in on that. Isaiah Rodgers and Kenny Gainwell.
That's a pretty good crew.
Whoa.
What?
Kenny Gainwell's going to be there?
Yep. Yeah.
He's got the concussion protocol, right?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Kenny G's good to go.
He might sign it crooked. Well, no, let's see that.
Well, no, he would have to be out of the protocol, I think, is Ray's point.
That's a cheap shot. Why did I say that?
That's why I ignored it.
That's terrible.
That's terrible. But Ray makes a good point, because I think if he was still in the protocol, he probably would not be attending a signing.
Well, there you go.
I would think.
I mean, I don't know the protocol.
That's good news.
But that seems like a good sign.
It is a good sign.
What about the good sign?
Oxford Valley Mall used to have the great stores. I don't know, Bill, probably past you, before your time, too. They had that clothing type of thing in the 80s, the merry-go-round. Remember that store?
I don't.
Merry-go-round? No?
I don't know
And
that.
then there was another one kind of like related to that, merry-go-round and Chess King. It was called Chess King.
Don't remember that
Some
either.
people know back in the day. Merry-go-round had this, this crazy 80s style type of clothes.
I do not
check
remember.
It out. All right. Let's go back to the phones and go to Swank on a cell. What's up, Swank?
How are you, Mike?
How you doing, buddy?
My man.
How's it going?
Good. I wouldn't put too much stock in RJ3's coaching assessment, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. It's not.
But you're on board with Nick now, aren't you, Swank?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm there. Let's see what happens next week anyway. I'll be down there, so I am a little worried about him, and I'm extremely worried about the refs.
Yeah, I see, Swank. Yeah, that's where you lose me. I mean, you're my man and everything, but come on with the refs.
Mike, here you go. Now, this ain't my stat. This is M-Dog's stat. There were 19 personal fouls in big games. 19 went against the other team. 1 went against Kansas City. That third down and that fourth down, I could have called either one a first down. And that ball was hit the ground. I could have called that an incomplete pass. I'm just saying, that's about 10 to 14 points. Go ahead.
I got nothing. Go ahead. Really, I got nothing. We like, to me, it's just it's commonplace. Stars will get preferential treatment every now and then. You got to work around it. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, what are you going to do? You going to kidnap a ref?
I know, I hear you there, but it's just getting exhausting. I'll tell you, last year, I go to Super Bowl. I'll be down there. Last year, I bet against Kansas City. I said, the hell with this. I bet with them.
Listen, Swag, this is not my category. I recognize greatness, and greatness is sometimes going to get a call. It doesn't mean you can't stop it. Like, they can lose, you know? Yeah, you got to outplay them.
I agree with greatness with Mahomes. I still find Andy Reid, as a game day coach caller, I'd say good, not great at all. They win in spite of Andy Reid. They win because of Mahomes. Those plays that he scores on are broken plays that he rolls out.
Yeah, see, again, you're going too far. Andy Reid's a great schemer of what to call in particular situations.
Oh,
you got to give it up.
And we don't have to go.
I hate to disagree with my man, but come on.
Yeah, and you don't have to go too far back as Eagles fans. In the 2022 Super Bowl, they schemed up those touchdown passes.
Yeah.
That one to Sky Moore was a beautiful design.
He has turned into a great schemer. Like, when he was here, he had limitations. Let's face it. There were limitations to what his offensive creativity was. Not anymore.
Yeah, no, you can't. You can't hate on Andy Reid. But, look, the refs thing, I know you keep poo-pooing it. And I would agree with you under normal circumstances that Philadelphia fans sometimes think everyone's out to get us. But the fact that you have now 2 head coaches in DeMeco Ryans and Sean McDermott saying the same thing about the Chiefs.
Well, of course they're going to say they're poor losers.
No.
They lost. They have to come up with something to justify how they lost.
See, when you say of course, I would not expect that type of behavior from a DeMeco Ryans. I would not expect that from a guy like Sean McDermott, who've been doing this a long time.
You weren't good enough to beat them.
You would expect it from fans. You don't expect it from opposing coaches.
It's under your control whether you can win a game or not. It's not the referee preventing you from winning a game.
I would agree with you if these were fans. But head coach is saying it now. It's starting to get weird.
A head coach is never going to try to come up with some excuse for why he lost?
Not Mufasa.
Come on, Bill. 610-632-0975. Coming down the home stretch. Sixers hosting Denver Nuggets. Another good game at the center. Good opponent coming in. You got the Joker. Sixers a 9.5-point underdog. I'm going to tell you that I'm going to bet $1 million on the Nuggets on the money line, which means I might not be here Monday.
You better be. We're not going to be here Monday.
We'll be at Rally House on Monday, folks.
Rally House in Willow Grove again.
Our cozy little spot over there.
So we only have one day in studio next week. We'll be here Tuesday, and then we're off to New Orleans.
That's right. And there's a discrepancy on whether we can get to our flight in time on Tuesday.
I know. We may have to call in the police escort.
We got to get an early break, right? Get the
you want me to just do the last segment?
Yeah, you do last segment.
Yeah, because our flight's at 3:55 on Tuesday.
Yeah, I'll do the last segment. You guys take off. I'll hang out. I'll just talk for 10 minutes and send you guys away.
Now, both of us are strong proponents of carrying on and TSA pre-check, so we probably will make it.
Oh, you guys have pre-check and you're doing carry-ons?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are staying for that last segment.
It'd be nice, though, if I could grab something to eat before we get there.
Or beer, maybe?
I'm only kidding. Oh, we do have to do the Ask Me Anything beer for Ray Dunn.
That's right. We have to suds one up for a photo.
Yeah, because unfortunately, Ray's going to be holding down the fort here while we're there, but
I only see you guys once next week.
People are going to say Ray's happy.
I'm going to miss you, Ray.
I'm going to miss you guys, too. Miss you, Mike.
People in the YouTube chat want to know if Ray's going to be at Rally House.
You already see that?
He's going to miss you, too. I know.
Yeah,
I ignore it now. Thank God I have thick skin. See, if I didn't come from a big Italian family that just killed each other every Sunday afternoon dinner, I think I would be crying myself at home about the way Ray Dunn treats me. And you too, Mike, the way you guys treat me.
I could beat you with a family story, though.
Oh, I'm sure. You grew up in a similar, big Italian family.
Well, I had cousins. One was afoul of the law. The other was a policeman. So I graduated from law school. My parents had a little party at the house, and we brought people over. And I'm talking to somebody. My friend's tapping me on the shoulder. I go, yeah, hold on a second. I was in a comment. He keeps tapping me harder. I go, what's up? He goes, your cousins are fighting on your front porch. I go, what? So the one afoul of the law is fighting with the police officer. Literally, fight.
Literally,
they're scrapping. They're like they got each other in a headlock. And
yeah, thankfully it never got to that. We just would kill each other verbally, but never physically.
Well, all right, let's get back to the phones. Carlos in Massachusetts. Carlos,
how you doing, guys? Good afternoon. First time caller here.
What's up, Los? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm over here with the Pats country, which is brutal. You know, I'm dealing with these knuckleheads up here, but for years and years. So
wait. You got a Mass accent. You're not a Patriots fan?
No, I've been an Eagles fan since 1978, the Jaworski days. Come on now. The Patriots sucked back then in 1978 and all that. So that's how I became an Eagles fan.
This just in, Carlos. They caught up.
Yeah. They caught up.
I appreciate his allegiance, though.
But you know what I rub in their face, though, is that, the Eagles beat the best two coaches in history there, Vince Lombardi and Bill Belichick. So it was a great day when they won the Super Bowl back in 17.
That's right. The Eagles are in pursuit of the Lombardi Trophy now.
Yeah, yes. you got to make fun of my accent. I get it. That's okay, guys. But, I looked at these games that, usually, when they play a team a second time, like they played the Rams a second time, they played the Green Bay Packers a second time, and the Redskins 3 times, until somebody could stop Barkley, give him the rock. Give him the rock until they can stop it, because I don't see that happening anyways. And even if he gets like 130 yards, that's still going to open up the passing game for Jalen Hurts and everything else. And on top of that, this defense is much better than what they had, obviously, last year towards the end of the year. And then I see it as definitely better than in the 22 season when they get against the Chiefs.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And so when they when they try to run the ball, I'm looking at where they stood for the whole year. Their run defense is looking real bad. I shouldn't say real bad, but it's not as good as it was during the year. And I see Mahomes. Yeah, he's a great ball player, football player, whatever one you want to say, quarterback. But he seems to be getting a little cocky. And you know what?
the Eagles will be able to contain him in the pocket. Okay, at some point they're going to be able to contain him in the pocket. And my prediction, like I told your host, the guy that called the call screener, 33-20. Reason being, I don't see them stopping this run. If they stop the run, then we got a little bit of issues. But here's the kicker. The Eagles have been flying to the ball and causing turnovers. They weren't doing that all year. And on top of that, if you remember, they were the worst first quarter scoring team all year, and up until, I believe, what was it, week 13, 14, whatever it was, they started scoring points. They were starting off slow, but now they're starting a little bit faster. And if they can maintain that, their defense is going to brutalize the offensive line of Kansas City, and that's where it's going to be won in the trenches after the fact when they're not as tired. Because I believe in the 22, the first Super Bowl against the Chiefs, they were gassed. Okay, what is it? Carter was Carter? Am I mistaken? Was Carter and Davis already with the Eagles in the Super Bowl?
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening to the Carlos show.
I could have listened to him all day.
Carlos went on for a long time.
With that accent, I could listen to it all day. I'm not used to hearing a Boston guy talk about the Eagles and the Beds and Saquon Barkley. I loved it.
Little exaggerated. I'm wondering if the Sports Hub put someone up to something.
Well, YouTube saying fake accent. YouTube was calling it a fake accent.
Yeah,
I think it was real.
Think so?
I think the Sports Hub might be trying to get down, maybe back in on the Super Bowl action.
You think it was a spoof call by that station up there? A Beasley Media Station?
Is this a joke call?
You want?
Is this a joke call?
That's pretty good impression there.
This is good to Joe in West Philly. What's up, Joe?
Hey, what's up, Mike? What's
How
up,
you doing?
Hey, man, I hear you talking about the Eagles. I mean, we know Patrick Mahomes is definitely a different breed. He's always on something else. But, man, I still think, like the old-fashioned saying goes, it comes down to defense. Defense wins championships. And I think in this particular game, that's what it's going to come to. And I think they're still the 16th ranked offense in the league. And, I mean, I still think we have our offense could beat the 16th ranked offense, period. I mean, coming down to this game, I remember the Tampa Bay Super Bowl. Tampa Bay was able to crush them and punish them because their offensive lineman was out and their offensive line and all that stuff was out. And I see the Eagles have big players just like Tampa Bay had in that Super Bowl to shut down Kansas City. I mean, along the offensive line.
I agree with you, man. I think the defense is really. that's the whole thing. I can't see Kansas City scoring enough points. I think the Eagles can outscore them, and I think Kansas City's going to be limited to like 20 points.
Yeah, 20, 24, something like that, and we can definitely. We've been hitting our numbers, and I don't think they can stop us from doing that. But I feel, we can hold Patrick Mahomes to a number. That Tampa Bay Super Bowl, I'm hearing the offensive line and things like that is going wrong for Kansas City, and Tampa Bay was able to exploit that, and Tom Brady and was able to put up the numbers. Not comparing Hurts to Brady, but, you know what I mean? But he's a big player to be able to do the things he's already been doing and continue. Especially if he had the last Super Bowl like he had the last time.
That's it, Joe. It's a good call, man. I like the analysis there. I'm trying to think. As much as he makes magical plays, can they score enough points to beat the Eagles? I think the Eagles can control the clock, first of all. I think that will keep Magic Man off the field a little bit. And I think he might be desperate then to catch up. And I think he may throw an interception.
But that's the key right there. It's been the turnovers, because the Eagles right now, since the bye week, are a plus 27 in turnover differential. They've created 10 takeaways this playoffs. The Chiefs haven't created a takeaway yet this playoff, so they're a -1. But go back to Super Bowl 57. Eagles dominated every single statistical category except for they lost the turnover battle.
Yeah.
That fumble by Hurts, even though it was a fluky play, that was really the difference in that game.
All right, my man Stick in Clearwater, our last caller of the day. What's up, Stick?
Mikey Mass, what's going on, big man?
How you doing?
Hey, I'm down here in 75 degrees, loving life.
Yeah, I know you are.
Hey, Mike, did you have my guy Torrey Smith on yesterday?
Yes.
Did he pick the Eagles?
He did.
He did. He better. I mean, I missed it because I was working at the facility, man. We got a bunch of guys in already.
Yeah, Stick is down there at the Phillies facility, Clearwater.
Yeah, so you guys coming down for any spring training at all?
Yeah, I think we are.
Okay.
Yeah,
you
look
gotta
for
look me up. You
well,
know where I am.
I don't even
But look,
know. We
man,
may have used up our cachet with this New Orleans trip. I think we might be down. I don't know, man. Can we get down to Clearwater for like $10? I think that's what we got left.
I'll bring y'all down.
All right.
Yeah, look. Hey, go Birds. And the island is green, 35-21 Birds.
You got it, Stick. My man Stick closing it out. And it is time now for Closing Arguments.
Now, Closing Arguments on the Mike Missanelli Show. Brought to you by Lowenthal and Abrams Injury Attorneys. Injured in an accident, call 800-876-LAWYER or visit LowenThalAbrams.com.
You know, Bill, I've given this a lot of thought. And at first my stance was, the Eagles have gotten to this point. It's a fantastic achievement. They may lose in the Super Bowl to a guy who knows how to win. But the more I'm thinking about it, I go, if I think this is the best Eagles team ever, which I do, even better than 2022, 2017, 2004, then if they lost this Super Bowl with the best team ever, there would be hope lost. Therefore, I'm thinking it would be devastation if they lost the Super Bowl, which means they're going to protect their turf. And I now believe that this is going to be a win in the Super Bowl. I connect the dots. Best Eagle team ever. Super Bowl championship. Kansas City Chiefs have had their run. It's over. The Eagles reign supreme. I'm feeling it, Billy.
And I'm right there with you, Mike. I'm with you on both fronts. One, I am feeling it. I'm feeling that the Eagles are going to win this game. Maybe things will change over the next week on how I feel. But I think they're going to win this game easily. But I'm also in agreement with you. I would be devastated if they didn't. I was happy to be there 2 years ago. I'm not just happy to be there this season. They have to win it this year. It's their best opportunity. There's no guarantees in the future. We don't know certain players that are going to be free agents. You don't know if you're going to be as healthy next season. You don't know what the landscape in the NFC is going to be next season. And you certainly don't know how you would react to the Super Bowl hangover, something that's now existed in the NFC for over 50 damn years with teams trying to get back. I'm with you, Mike. I'd be devastated if they didn't. But I'm also going to be shocked if they don't.
All righty, folks. Thanks for listening today. Sixers tonight. Anybody wants to join me in my $1 million bet, you want to contribute $100,000, hit me up on my email here, which is mikemiss@bbgi.com.
You could do that. And also, tomorrow, 9 a.m., I'm going to be on the air. So if you want to listen tomorrow morning, I'm hosting tomorrow morning.
Bonus bill for you tomorrow.
Can't get enough. And Ray's doing Sunday morning, I think.
Bonus Ray.
We got John Martino on tomorrow?
Maybe I will have John Martino on. Maybe we could do a full hour about the Camden Catholic head coaching job.
All right, it's time to go.
You can act like a man. Have a great night, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you Monday.